Welcome to Tech Talk. Auxiliary will be back momentarily in his warm log cabin with frozen fire effect. He had to go and get his water because he needs to stay hydrated.
That's right.
Hey, I was smart. I got my hydration on too. It's even got ice
Hydrator,
in it.
you
Hear that
hydrate.
ice? Hear that ice in there? Yeah.
Ooh, icy.
Ice water. Oh yeah, ice. We got one of those. Our water maker on our fridge broke like a gajillion years ago, so we don't have ice and we don't have running filtered water from the fridge anymore. So can't afford a new fridge, so instead we went and got one of those tabletop ice makers. Have you seen those?
Oh,
Where
yeah,
it just cranks out a bunch of ice and you just fill it with water and it just keeps cycling and making ice all the time. And so we threw one of those on the counter. We used to only pull it out like when we needed it for something very specific. But then I told my wife one day, I was like, why don't we just leave it out? It doesn't use that much power. It's insulated, right? It's like a third.
It'll hold.
Close the top,
it's like a little freezer.
Yeah, it's like a little freezer. So I'm like, just let it run, and it maybe makes a new batch of ice like 4 or 5 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it sips the power. It's not a super power, but it's always nice. You just pop the top. You always have fresh ice. Always.
Yeah.
Never have like stale ice. It's never freezer burned ice. It doesn't refreeze it. Like once it freezes it, then it just keeps it frozen, but it stays above freezing, so you don't get that weird frost all over your ice that makes it taste all nasty. But yeah, having ice has been amazing. That's been a freaking game changer. Pele said, "What is your theme today in English?" What is my theme today in English? My theme? Are you talking about like the topic of the show, or got to give me a little bit more, Pele? I'm still tired. I only slept 3.5 hours, which honestly for me is a lot. But I also didn't sleep yesterday because I had to go to a doctor's appointment. Not gonna lie, last night I was up 7 hours playing Cyberpunk finally.
Yeah. I
have not played so the way the story goes with old Cyberpunk is when it came out, I was lucky enough to get a key. I didn't buy it. So someone gave me a key. And I played it for about 45 minutes or an hour. The game crashed about 20 times. It was chugging. Everybody was in T-poses flying around. The driving sucked. The aiming, it felt like the hitbox mechanics were all fucked up. Like, it sucked. It was really a terrible game. And so I just stopped playing it. I gave up on it. And I have to say, CD Projekt Red should literally get like an award for how much they turned that game around. Like, so I come back to it years later. I don't know when it released, when it came out, like 3 or 4 years ago.
It's been out. Yeah, it's been out for a bit. Yeah.
So I installed it on my PlayStation 5 because it was like one of the monthly free games I had downloaded. Something because I have it on. I had it on the PC. Now I have it on PS5. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll try playing it on PS5. See if it's any good. And 7 hours in, I had no crashes. I'm not going to say I didn't have any bugs. There were some like bugs where like every once in a while my character would, when I'm driving and shooting, my character would glitch and look at the driver. Like there was some kind of cue in the script that said, hey, you have to look at the driver while he's talking right now while I'm actively in combat. So I go from like shooting the bad guys to like shooting the guy driving. So that was a little weird. And I ran into another bug where sometimes it gets overwhelmed and it starts doing this thing where you walk where it like freezes and then the screen like melts. It almost looks like it's melting away, like the color saturation like goes away. And then it pops back and then you walk a little bit and then it like fades out and chugs again. And it did that one time in town where there was like 1 million people on the street. But then once everybody, I never had it happen again in the whole 7 hours. So very, very minimal bugs. The graphics are amazing. The story is great. The driving now is fantastic. Like I'm not going to say, I wouldn't say it's on par with like GTA 5, which is like the gold standard for like open world driving, in my opinion. Or like Forza Horizon, if you really want to have something that's like, trying to be somewhat realistic while still being an open world arcade-ish game. But the driving was solid. The driving sucked. I remember when it first came out, the driving felt like you were pivoting around the center of the car.
Yep.
And it was like a rubber band effect. The car had like this bad rubber band effect. Now I feel like there's actually some physics in play. Even if they're faking it, there's some kind of physics in play. And it feels good. And the story is awesome. The options, I like the hacking mechanics. I like the fighting mechanics. I know I'm like late to all this. Everybody's reviewed the shit out of this like years ago. And everybody's like, everybody knows Cyberpunk and probably almost everybody's played the damn thing by now. And I'm late to the party, but it's good.
It's one of those games where people are still finding crazy stuff. Like it's like Skyrim kind of thing where like, yeah, you keep playing it and there's all kinds of neat stuff and weird interactions of things. Or like if you figure out, oh, I could have beat this way easier if I had this hacking thing because my build was different and all that kind of stuff.
I love that you're just like driving along too, and there's always something to do. Like you'll be driving along and you'll see some gangbangers down an alley or something, like, having a meet and greet, or you'll hear somebody like scream down an alley or something like that. You slam on the brakes, you go back, and then you scan and you find out that they got warrants on their heads and bounties on their heads and stuff. I also like how you can literally walk into a business and like the bartender or the person behind the counter will have a bounty. And I had that happen a couple of times too, where it's like I walked into business, I'm like, whoa, that like the NPC that's running the business actually has a bounty on their head. And so, I blow their ass up, collect the bounty, get my street cred, and walk out. And all the people in the restaurant are still eating, acting like grenades didn't just go off right next to them. So they're still, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the NPCs are still a little derps. But overall, I have to say that game came a long way. It's almost like they programmed one game and then programmed a whole nother game.
The 2.0, yeah, the 2.0 update was crazy. Yeah, it was big.
Jamie Houston, did you hear about the assassination of Charlie Kirk? How everybody heard about the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, come on. Did you not see the
literally dominated the news cycle for like 3 days?
It still is.
Yeah, and it will for a long time yet. Bradley Smith said, pro tip, take some of the ice from... Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. Jamie, leave it alone. Debating's no longer an option. People go straight... Shut up. Like, we're not going to go into this. I don't want to go into that kind of stuff. Like, that...
It's a shitty
like
situation.
I'm not gonna ban you or anything, but like just drop it. We're not gonna talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. Jerry can talk about it after I leave or something, but I don't want this to be a thing in the chat. It's nothing but divisive, and it's just gonna be an argument back and forth. A lot of people are gonna start bitching back and forth, and there's gonna be left versus right and all this shit. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
because
debate's only possible literally when it's evidence driven. Like
there's not gonna be any balance there. Like nobody's going to change your mind. You're not going to change anybody else's mind. It's just going to be a bunch of fucking arguing back and forth, and then it's going to devolve to name calling and shit, and it's just an argument, and nobody, like, just leave it alone.
Sadly true.
Okay,
sadly
and that goes for everybody. I know I'm poking at Jamie right now, but like this is for everybody.
And there's going to be people that come in that don't hear this. Conversation
that is going to it's not going to be a helpful or healthy sort of. It's not even going to be an actual conversation. It's just going to end up being one piece. It's just going to devolve into insults and bitching and fighting, and like there's just no. It's not constructive in any way. So let's just leave it alone.
Yeah, really, nothing good can come from it. So, and I'll probably eventually talk about it over on Twitch, so you can catch me over there when I'm by myself. But for today. We'll probably have to remind people too as they come in, because there's gonna be people that don't hear this, and this is this 100%. Is like the breaking news.
Which again, like that's why I'm not gonna ban you or anything. It's not. And
I don't mind people asking. Just but here's the thing: be respectful. That's the biggest thing, is be respectful. Like I don't want to see people in the comments trying to jab and pull the whole this side or that side or this side or that side.
Which is exactly what it's going to.
And that's what it'll all devolve into. That's why we're not even bothered. Oh, is my mic level a little low? Here, I can bring it up.
I took mine down a little bit.
How's that? That might be too hot. Hold on.
It's flooded with tons of reports of people being for saying stupid things about.
How's that, guys?
It doesn't matter.
Is that better? I turned it up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And Jamie, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, I'm not upset with you.
It's just a hot
because of my job, and also because of just my personal life. I'm kind of chronically online, and I just see the bullshit constantly. And part of what I like about doing this is that I know Jerry sometimes will go off on a rant or whatever, and Trump and Elon and blah, 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 which is fine. But in a broader sense, we don't do politics on this. Despite politics really, it has its fingers in everything. You can't really avoid it. But
sometimes it has to be discussed.
In something like this. Sometimes it does have to be discussed, because it affects,
here's the thing.
Like
Charlie
the AI
Kirk
stuff
didn't run the
that.
government. He doesn't decide legislation. At the end of the day, he was a guy with an opinion. Some people agreed with him, some people didn't, and some dude fucking decided to just kill him.
And at some point, Ben Shapiro's going to die, Hassan Piker's going to die, fucking Trump's going to die, and these conversations are going to come up again, and it's just it's not for this space. And
it's just, I don't know, man. We live in a divisive world. We just live in a divisive world now.
Yeah,
it's truly sad.
So,
but this week we're taking a break. This week we're taking a break.
And partly that too. Like I do have to be conscious of my work.
Oh, that's actually a really good point, because so many people
I wasn't thinking
fired.
about that, but yes,
that's a really good point. That's a really good point. You should probably, everybody should just. yeah, free speech isn't freedom of consequence, right? that's one thing I've learned throughout my entire little career. You know, being in the limelight and out of is you pay for the shit you say, like 100%. Like I get death threats. Like honestly, I've gotten so many death threats lately. I'm almost wondering if I'm relevant again, because I used to measure my relevance by the number of death threats I got.
Oh, dang.
And I've been getting a fair amount lately. Not like a huge amount. Like we're talking like on the order of like one every 2 or 3 weeks, but still that's a lot more than what I was getting in the last year.
And I've had some talking tos about in the past, you know, about it was never anything that bad, but still it's something that I do have to be conscious of. So
yeah.
Thank you for letting me rant on that and respecting the line here.
Yeah, so if anything else, just respect it. Just if you need one reason, just respect it, because Ox has a job and he doesn't need to be fucking jeopardizing that.
And y'all can trick me and don't get me started
anything.
Shit sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not going to change anything. That's the thing, is if you can change something, if you can make a change, then maybe in a certain case it's worth it, right? But if all you do is just amplify anger and amplify hate, it gets nowhere. Yep. And honestly, I've had a lot of introspection myself, you know, over the last couple of days, and starting to realize that, you know, there's a period of time where so many people were just fucking cooped up and didn't experience life, right? Like through the whole COVID pandemic, there's a whole generation of people right now that are right in that age where, like, at a critical point in their life where they need to interact with other humans and stuff, they were stuck behind a keyboard in a house facing the internet, and everybody just trolls each other because they don't see the other person as a human. So, and I'm not, this has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. This just has everything to do with just the online culture that that our youngsters have locked onto, including even my son. But the difference with my son is he just plays video games, and we monitor him. Like, we don't just let him just go like free for all, never have. And he doesn't have any social media accounts. He doesn't have a Facebook. The only people he's allowed to chat with are like people that we know in real life. Like the ones that he can actually chat with, like in a text chat or whatever. And so we've kept him away from a lot of that negativity. And it's amazing to see how happy he's turned out. He is the happiest little bugger ever. He loves everybody. He loves everything. He doesn't give a shit if you disagree with him or agree with him on anything. He is just happy to be in the orbit of another human being, digitally or in person, right? He is just thrilled with everything. And so after seeing that and contrasting that against me and how I was raised and all the shit that I went through, it's like, I can tell you right now, 100%. It's like parents play a big role.
Heck yeah.
And how they raise the kids and how that kid turns out. Like, a lot of that kid's advantages and disadvantages can directly come just from parental attention and not passing on your prejudices and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just leaving it to them to just be like, hey, these are your fellow humans. You know, we don't have to politicize anything. We're not going to indoctrinate anything into you. You can pick and choose what you want. You can be exposed to all this stuff if you'd like to learn about it, but we're not going to tell you which one to go with or why to go with it. And it's been a fun experiment. Like, honestly, to see how he's turned out, I'm like, my gosh, I wish my parents had done that for me. But then the flip side is, you know, for all my flaws, I'd like to think that a lot of the bad stuff that I went through actually did put me in a position to help other people today, because they can relate with some of the stuff that I've gone through that other people that haven't gone through that shit, they can't relate with. So I think that's a good thing. I think people should talk, but there needs to be more positivity. There definitely needs to be more positivity. And I'm 100% going to put myself out there and say that I have been just surrounded by negativity. Like you were saying, the internet, right? Just the internet, social media, just being on, like, just negativity. It just fucking eats away at you. And then you have people going out and doing stupid shit because they've been pushed to a point where it's like, they just don't value human life. They clearly don't see a human life as a human life. They just think everybody's an NPC, right? Go into the town and just obliterate everything. And it's not good for anybody. It's not good for anybody. So we're gonna leave it at that and talk about tech. Trust me, there's plenty of other things that are trying to destroy humanity right now. like honestly, the AI thing is probably like front and center on my lists of concerns right now as far as directly affecting people's livelihoods moving forward. Dude, I'm scared shitless. Like, I'm looking at these robots in China, these 6,000. Now they're down to 5,000. They just lowered the price again. So $5,000, you can buy a robot that's like 26 axis, AI assisted robot with LiDAR, stereoscopic cameras, ambidextrous hands that can also be replaced with other attachments. They can literally like do the dishes. It can like walk your perimeter of your property and report things. It can go get your mail and your packages. You know, it can go out and greet people. Like if you're like I saw one demo where it was like the person was in a wheelchair and they sent their robot outside. He opened the front door, went outside, waited for the delivery driver, took delivery of the delivery, actually collected the thing from him, and he was like a telepresence. Like the person was acting through the robot. And it was like they had legs. Cool. And I was like, dude, this is rad. Like this is super cool. But man, when you start pairing AI, you take the AI side of things, the cloud AI, and you start pairing it, even local AI for that matter, you start pairing that with this robotics. I don't think people are realizing how close we are to just the job market crashing. Because if your competitor, and I'm curious if you agree on this point. I know we disagree on a lot in the space of like AI and its damage to humanity. But if a robot, if your competitor buys robots, lays off the humans, and now the robots end up costing them 3% or 2% of the total cost of the human investment, plus it's online 24/7. You know, one problem can be fixed and propagated to 1,000 robots. You don't have to like do the thing with human where like each one has to be trained independently or trickle down. I feel like even if you want to do the right thing and you want to employ humans and you want to run a human business, at some point you're just forced to give in. Because you have to keep the costs down. Maybe not for everything, not for like maybe not for like specialized products like, you know, collector's items and artwork and stuff like that. But for the things you need, like, you know, like fucking toilet paper and gas for your car and food for your belly.
There's commodities that, I mean, just like any automation, right? Like how many humans are actually involved in the building of a car? Right, like it's not that many, and it's going to be less and less and less as time goes on. But I do think I bring up the IKEA versus handmade furniture sort of thing. I think that there's going to be I don't want to say collapse necessarily, but there's going to be some hardship, I guess, in a lot of different spaces, where I think it's going to be almost a pendulum sort of thing. It's going to swing real far, and we're kind of seeing it swing far one way, where you're seeing like software companies wipe out 2/3 of their dev people in favor of just a bunch of project managers and like some higher level developer to basically code review the AI slop that's getting put out. But then they're like, oh crap, we actually do need more people like to actually look at this stuff because the code stuff isn't that great. It's not that good. I do think we're still swinging toward AIs trying to take over everything. And there is going to be some of that, but then I think that there's going to be more. I do think that it's going to be a selling point where
I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on the human element will still be desirable and even more desirable
in country, right? Like, knowing that, like, if you call up, I just think of Future Systems in this because our support team is like in the same building as the people who are building the computers, right? I think that is a value proposition there, and I think that sort of thing is going to be more of a selling point where, like, especially in creative space, people aren't going to want your AI generated Ghibli movie. Like, yeah. And you're seeing that when that kind of stuff gets shown, like what it was Dragon Con just a little bit ago, they kicked out a vendor who was selling AI generated stuff. They kicked him out of the artist alley or whatever.
There was that family that I was talking about, the Parcher, like they were like the Parcher's Family knockoff that was like selling $100 custom songs to people on Facebook, and people were like, they were highly reviewed, 4.7 stars. Everybody was super happy with the product they received. It turned out to be a couple dudes in Nigeria. They were just created a whole fake website, a whole fake persona, pretending that they were like this family that went around the world and performed for 30 years with these fake AI generated videos of them performing against stadiums of like 50,000 people. And then they'd be like, any one of our family members can write you a song with anything you want, and people $100, and people would be just $100 on their e-store front. And hey, can you create a song saying, congratulations for your birthday? And they'd create like this wonderful song. It's like 3 minutes long for the birthday, and you could pick which family member you wanted to sing it. And people were like, oh, I love it. It's amazing. But then people found out that it was all AI generated and they could do it for free.
see, like on the one hand, okay, good for you, man. Like right on, hustle. But then yeah, right, there's going to be that backlash. And
I don't mind the hustle. What I mind is the lying.
Even
like if you sell
YouTube,
something is human generated when it's AI generated, that's not okay.
YouTube's cracking down on AI generated content too. Like there used to be a bunch of those channels where it was just like heck, you even showed off what it was like
it's still really bad. With the
big Trump channel or something like that, or the one the Elon Musk fan pages and all that kind of stuff. And they're cracking down on that too, because they know that, and that to me is a big that's a big like flag saying like because YouTube's gonna have their thumb on the pulse of things, right? They're not gonna, I mean, despite some of their anti-consumer sort of practices and whatnot regarding like ads and things, but generally they are going to have a good feel for what the market, their particular market is wanting and that kind of a thing. And so like if they're going to ban that sort of stuff or crack down on tagging it and that kind of thing, it says that that's what the people want, or at least that's what they want the people to want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I watched a video from Spiff and Brit. We love Spiff and Brit. He's our
so
dude.
Good.
He's our
so
Spiff.
Fun.
If you ever cross this video by some miracle, or just know we love your videos,
funny.
dude. You're amazing. So
Yorkshire tea.
So old Yorkshire tea. Spiff and Brit. If you guys don't know who he is, go sub him. He's a great channel. He makes videos where he exploits games and even exploits platforms and everything, and then he jokes about it the whole time he's doing it. Like one of his most favorite series that you've probably even seen, probably didn't even realize you're watching him, was it Keanu Reeves was Rihanna Keeves? And it was Elder Scrolls Rihanna Keeves, and he creates this character that just looks like a genetic mutation.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
That's so much fun.
It's absolutely hilarious. Well, he came out with a video this morning, and I just watched it before the stream, actually, and he was talking about how everybody's panicking that views are down on YouTube and they're being shadow banned and blocked, and the algorithm's fucking them over. And then you have people like Linus Tech Tips creating videos saying that the algorithm's fucking them, and algorithm. But he pointed out something. He goes through and shows all the data in his video, and he's like, listen, this happens every single year. He points out, it's like every single year during this time, during the summer, people go out and touch grass and do things. Views come down. More content gets created because people aren't working. So now they during their summer breaks, a lot more people are creating content, creating their YouTube channels, starting up. So there's always a time during the year where there's this slump, and then it's followed by a huge boost after the holidays, and like a month or so goes by. Then it like shoots through the roof, right? And so he showed the pattern, and he's like, but every year you can go back and you can see that all these people make a video talking about how YouTube algorithm's screwing them, and it's always around the same time within the same 3 months every single year. And he's like, it's not the algorithm, guys. It's just there's more content and less eyeballs. Like there's less people watching and more people creating content. Because of course, if they're not working, those people that normally would be at work sitting on their ass watching YouTube videos, consuming them, now they're at home creating the YouTube videos, right? Because they're not working. They got free time. And it actually made a lot of sense. I didn't agree. I can't say I agreed with like everything he said, because some of it was slightly opinionated. But for the most part, he presents the data, and he presents a really good case as to why the views are down. And it even kind of caught me out, because to be honest, I thought the algorithm was mostly to blame also. Like as far as being like specifically targeted towards reducing views towards the old guard and shifting that to more things like shorts and things like that. And he kind of won me over with his argument. Like after listening to that, I'm like, yeah, actually that does make sense, that the algorithm isn't really target. Why would it target and try to take views off videos if they can put ads on it and make money? They wouldn't do that. It's just there's more videos and they don't have more ads to serve. There may be less eyes consuming, right? Which means less ads served on those videos. And it kind of all makes sense that this is something, but because this pattern, every year the same thing happens, you usually have one big person in the community that comes out, and sometimes they'll even release the same video. He showed a guy who literally just recopies and re-uploads the same video every single year that's like, oh, YouTube's views are down because of some censorship thing, or because I used a word in my video, or blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, he's actually making a lot of sense. So yeah, you guys should go watch his latest video if you haven't seen it after the stream. Gotta watch our stream first. Come on, man. But yeah, it was a really good video. He made a lot of really good points, and I think that people get really depressed and burnt out, and they're like, oh my god, my channel's not performing well. I mean, shit, even me. It's like the live streams maybe get a total of maybe on a good day 10,000 views on average, maybe 3,000 to 4,000 views over the course of like the first 2 weeks after release. But that's max. Like after that, it just caps out, goes down 0, and nobody ever sees it in their feed again. Like you can literally watch the graph, and it's like the first week is like, here's the people that miss Tech Talk that watch it as a VOD, and then and just almost nothing. And that's because the algorithm views live content is only relevant for a small period of time, right? So why would they continue to push that when there's more relevant streams that just came out that day that is going to have more things that hold more people's attention? Not just the viewers, not just the loyalty thing operates outside of this. If you have an audience like Mr. Beast that just they go to your channel and watch everything you make, you don't need the search algorithm. You don't need the sub algorithm. Like, people are going there proactively seeking your content and watching it, right? And if you create an audience like that, you kind of operate outside of the algorithm. And I'm not gonna say like Mr. Beast isn't effective. Of course he's affected. Like, he's a dude, he's getting like 30, 50 million views. You have to imagine that a huge percentage of that are just videos that are just popping up in people's feeds and they're clicking on them. Like, otherwise he wouldn't put any effort into the thumbnails or titles or anything, right? Why? why bother putting in any effort whatsoever if you know your loyal audience is always going to come and watch the content of the video regardless of what you title it or what you put on there? But Spiff and Blurrit did really point out that this is a panic that happens every single year. This year it seems especially bad, but he also has like a good explanation for that. I'll leave it for him to explain. Because I don't want to like steal all his glory. I hate it when people create a video and then somebody just takes all the key points from it and just puts it in their video, and then there's no reason to go watch the other person's video. It's like, no, I definitely want you guys to go watch his video because it's very much earned. And plus, he makes really good content. Like, honestly, the effort he puts into his content is pretty legit. And he also seems like kind of a stand-up dude that'll like speak his mind even when it's not popular, because you can tell like his view on this is very much opposed to 99% of the other big YouTubers. But he does it in a way where he's not being threatening. He's not attacking them. He even brings up pirate software and the drama around pirate software and how that alone impacted YouTube on a huge level. Just because there was you have so many angry people that are just angry and worked up in general. And now they're hypersensitive to anything. Like, there's blood in the water anywhere. People just freak the fuck out and just go full rage mode, right? Because they just have to get out the anger. It's like they can't get outside and go play paintball, right? So they just let it fly on the internet. You know, it's like the trolls that come into the channel sometimes, and the amount of effort that some trolls put into coming into the channel and doing stuff. It's like you can tell that these are people that are motivated by something else other than just wanting to be entertained, right? They are pushed to their fucking breaking point on some level, and they're looking for some way to relieve the stress, some way to level the playing field in their own mind. Yeah. And it gets crazy. It gets a little crazy sometimes. But I feel like when it comes to like YouTube channel and views, people freak the fuck out, including myself. I've done this too before, where they freak out and they think that, oh my God, YouTube's trying to kill us off. And it's like, no, not really, because YouTube's entire model is to make money off advertisements, and they make money off advertisements that are served on videos. Like, that's their shtick. As a matter of fact, when their ad revenue was affected from the pre-roll ads and the post-rolls and the mid-rolls and every other kind of rolls that they have, they implemented a feature to skip in-video ads. Like just because they were getting sick of the content creators like skirting their system and, getting their own brand deals. So the way to deal with it was, because they knew if they just abolished it entirely, people would just leave the platform in droves, right? So the way that they dealt with it instead is they just put a double-click fast-forward feature in the app on the phone, the app on the TV, where it's like you get to that point where it's like, hey, today's video is sponsored by, you just double-click forward and it jumps the entire advertisement. And it's clever the way they did it. If you ever watch a new video that only has a couple hundred views, it doesn't do the skip thing. Like, it doesn't know yet. The way it's training is it watches the part that everybody skips over, and then it creates an average. And then once it has enough data to show that, wow, that is uncontested, this is a point that people just do not want to watch. Yep. Then it creates that feature to jump.
You can see there's like sometimes when you hover over the bar, it shows you that little like wiggly thing that it's like most people watch this part, and that kind of thing. Yeah,
I totally forgot about that, but you're absolutely right. I do remember that, where it shows you like the most popular and unpopular parts. So like if you want to just skim through the video and get like the most popular pieces, it shows that big, like you can see like, oh, everybody watched right here. Right. But they have the inverse of that too, which is the advertisements, right? Where they're like, oh, everybody disengaged or fast forwarded right here. So this must be where there's an advertisement. Wait, what the hell is this? Something popped up on Blue Sky. Was it saved posts? Finally keep track of posts that matter the most to you. I guess I haven't been on Blue Sky very much. I'm trying to share our stream because I forgot to do it last time. All right, here we go. Tech Talk. I'm going to do that before I forget. Tech Talk is live. Come hang out with us. Popcorn emoji. All right, copy, paste. Post. Let me go put that on Discord too. I'm pretty sure everybody on Discord knows that we're doing this, but we should probably throw it out there in the universe. Hopefully I'm sending the right link. I hope that, I think that's the right link. I think we're close. Okay, last place I got to do is Facebook. Dude, Facebook's interface is so bad. I don't know how anybody can use it.
I literally only use it for marketplace.
Yeah, I honestly, I do not understand how people can use this. It is so slow. And I thought, hey, maybe it's my computers, maybe it's the plugins I have installed. Nope, I tried it on my Linux VM browser. I tried it on the Falcon browser. I tried it on mobile browsers, Safari, Chrome, Firefox. I even tried it using like a weird generic browser that's on my Samsung TV, right? Like, or no, not the TV. It's the Nvidia Shield. The Nvidia Shield has a browser. It's literally just called Internet Browser. It doesn't even have like a name. I don't know what engine it uses under the hood. It's just Internet Browser. So I even tried that. Every single one of them, the JavaScript is so unoptimized that it is just, you can literally watch the elements rendering. You notice that on Facebook? Like as you're scrolling and stuff, you can actually literally see the elements rendering. It's absolutely ridiculous. Everything good over there, bro?
Yeah, it was just somebody said, just observation, at your previous place you had door handles that weren't round, so you could feel like in Europe. And
door handles that weren't round. You have a fake background. So how could they know?
I was like, well, yeah, like my background doesn't have doors, and then I'm like, I mean, sometimes you can see behind me, you know, because
was he talking like in general? Like,
but then I'm like, I don't have round door handles in this place either.
Your previous place, you had door handles that weren't round, so you could feel like in Europe.
It was just an interesting.
Maybe they watched like a previous podcast where you took down the background and they could see the door handles or something. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. My actual real door handles aren't round. They're like, you know.
I have a mix in my house.
I was like, that's what I was like.
Half my doors have a round knob, and then half of them have the clinker dealy where you like push it down the handle.
Maybe my front door. I don't know, man. I don't pay that close attention to door handles.
Uh-oh, bro. Are you being stalked? Are you being cyber stalked?
It was just an interesting comment. I don't want to say weird comment because I don't want to feel bad. It was just like curious. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Is my door handle round? I go and look, and I'm like, well, no, it's not. And I don't have any. Y'all just trying to see the back of my head. All my balding, man. That's messed up.
Oh, are you going bald there?
Oh, dude, I've been going thin on top for a long time. Look, see? Oh, and part of that's the headphones moving my hair forward, but it's thin on the top, man. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you know what, dude? I can't wait until you get to the point. I know I shouldn't say I can't wait because I'm sure you love your hair, but I want to see you bald with the big beard on the bottom, like the upside. Dude, I love seeing that.
If it gets real bad, I will. I'll shave my head, man.
I want to see you with the chrome dome and the big ass beard, looking like Mad Dog Harley Rider, right?
I'd do it.
Because I mean, how old are you now? How old are you?
39.
39. See, you're right on that. When you hit 40, you got to do midlife crisis, shave the head, and just go like completely like and polish it. Do the thing where they use like the creams and stuff where it looks like a mirror.
Sure. Hey.
Oh, dude, Pele, awesome. Woo!
Well, and somebody else threw $5. Retro my bits threw $5 and spoke some weird foreign language.
He said, "Que pasa mi familia?"
Familia. Q pasa mi familia.
And then Blue Varo, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. That was very nice of you. HP person. Oh, Pele got a sub. That's awesome. Pele got gifted a sub by Blue Varo. That's freaking awesome. And then Pele, of course, he gave us $26.74, which is the biggest super chat we've received today. And he said, my favorite people every week. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you so much. Seriously. Anthony said, at 40, you shave your head, buy a C8 ZR1 and get barbed wire tattoos. Dude, I can see you rocking a Corvette. I could see you. You know, I want to see you in an old Corvette,
I would do
like
a Stingray
80s style, though.
I'll do a Stingray.
Dude, have you seen how cheap the 80s Corvette is? I don't know if they have like a bad motor or something, but they cost nothing. They're like, I swear I looked at one. It was like had like 30,000 original miles or 40,000 original miles. And you could buy it for under $10,000. I was like, really? I don't think they make very much horsepower. I think that was like during the 80s when they were doing like the gas crisis shit and everybody was trying to get like gas mileage. So it has like a massive displacement V8 that just doesn't make any power. But I was shocked at how cheap they are. Like here, I'm gonna go look on. Here, let's see here. What is it? What model would that be? So here, Corvette. Let me see if I can find like a really old one. Because even my neighbor has one in their garage that's just sitting there rotting away. And they were even trying to give it away at one point. They're like, hey, if you know anybody who wants a Corvette, they can have it. I was like, damn, like they're that hard to get rid of, the old ones. And this is specifically just the 80 ones. Like if it's a 70s or a 60s one, those are still super desirable. 2000s plus super desirable. It's just this one like this one span of time in like the 80s, early 90s, they for some reason didn't make any power, so you could get them super cheap. And I think they look cool too. Like the way you open the hood on the front, it's kind of like a Dodge Viper, where you can see the whole motor and the headers. Like it takes the fenders and everything up with it as one big clamshell. So you can see this huge, massive displacement V8 and everything. It looks super badass. The interiors are super nice. You can get them in, like, you can get the manuals. I mean, I could see you rocking a Corvette. Oh, I found one. So 1995 Chevy Corvette. Oh, it has 4,000 original miles, so it's 27,000. But still, 4,000 miles. That's a brand new car from the 90s.
Yeah, that's a decent one.
That's insane. But yeah, it's like this is like and it's also the most bland looking Corvette too. Like it's definitely not like the ones that are all like super stylish and everything. Kind of looks, when you see them, you don't really like look at them twice. You're like, it's nothing super special. But yeah, 2004 Chevy Corvette. Get that thing $20,000, 43,000 miles. So for a Z06, and this is the Z06 too. So this is the hot one. This is if you want, or you can get a 2005 non Z06 for 20,000 with 93,000 miles. So yeah, if you want like a V8, if you're looking for a V8 sports car, like a true American muscle car, get yourself a Corvette, man. Like the older Corvettes, for some reason they don't retain their value at all. I mean, if anybody knows in chat, like specifically why the late 80s, early 90s Corvettes like are basically just free, like I don't know, maybe the motors or the electronics fail in them or something. I don't know. Let's hear Mo Vermerian. Thank you for the 23 euros and 99 cents. Super appreciate it. Also, huge shout out to everybody that hit that thumbs up button. Look at that. Pele got 11 thumbs up, 8 thumbs up so far on Vermerian. You guys are awesome. Like, it's so cool. And when people help us out and you guys can help give them some attention, we really do appreciate that. Because everybody likes attention. Even people that say they hate attention and they hate other people, the act of them even reaching out to tell you that they hate other people and that they hate interaction, they hate attention, that's fulfilling them, right? That makes them happy. Their idea of happy may not be the same idea as our happy, but still, that's what makes them happy. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, right? They would just stay away from people and not talk to anybody. It's like when you hear people, I hate humans. I don't like talking to humans. I don't like being around humans or whatever. It's like, well, you're sitting here telling a human right now all of this stuff, expecting a reply from that human. Otherwise, you wouldn't be saying it. So, clearly you get something out of that. Thorgard said, or he could get him 4 of those AI robots. For the cost of the Corvette. 20K, yeah. Dude, isn't that insane? You could buy 4 for the price of that cheap ZR6.
If I could get them imported.
Yeah.
From fucking China.
I didn't even think about that.
What, 175% tariff or something? Like, good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be, So did you hear that that Mexico did a 50% tariff on cars from China?
I'm not surprised.
And I think the US, we have a similar 50%. So did you know you can buy a Tesla, like a better than a Tesla, like Porsche 911 looking 1,000 horsepower EV for like 40,000 US in China from BYD.
I wish we could get those BYDs in here,
I wish we could too. Dude, it's so much better than the freaking Tesla. Like
I wish we could import the Hilux. The freaking Toyota makes a killer Hilux that it's like 14K and it's freaking awesome. But nope.
That's
can't
wild,
do it.
Man. That's wild. Oh, Michael Mack, I just saw this is funny. He said, it's a boring day at work, so I sent my boss a Nana Banana AI-generated image of the company car in a ditch and almost got fired. He didn't take it.
You got to be careful, bro. You got to be careful.
Dude, actually, that's a good segue into this topic, man. Nano Banana is causing waves. VO3 is causing waves. Did you hear that Microsoft, I wish I remembered the name of it off the top of my head. I can't, but Microsoft released a voice cloning software that was so good that after one day of it being released on GitHub, they pulled it down and said that they decided because of ethical reasons that they can't release it at this time. And so there's backups. You can find backups everywhere. People archived it to Chinese sites and stuff, so you can download it. It's a little bit trickier now to find it and get it working. But it is such good voice cloning. Microsoft didn't even realize when they released it that it can actually beat some of the detection algorithms that detect AI voice. So it will actually pass and think that it's actually that person's voice. And they were like, oops, we didn't realize that. We're going to go ahead and take that back. No harm, no foul, even though the damage was already done. So now scammers basically have a voice cloning algorithm that only requires 6 seconds. 6 seconds of a person speaking. And it can actually not only replicate their voice, it can replicate their cadence, their accent, and their inflections from 6 seconds of spoken audio. And if you give it more, it's obviously does a better job, but it only needs 6 seconds to create a believable voice. And so what people are doing is they're taking that voice cloning software and they're pairing it with VO3, which is this video generating software that has literally like quadrupled in its abilities in just like 2 months. Like when it first started, it was amazing. Now it's like amazing plus plus. And so people have been creating videos with it, and they've been not only going viral online, these fake videos, but they've literally gotten picked up and reported by media as fact. Like and the people that are in these fake videos have to come forward and literally correct them after all the damage is done. They're getting death threats. They're getting attacked for this shit. And they're like, I never did that. I never
believe nothing anymore.
So you can't trust anything. And we talked about this like more than a couple of times over the last year when AI was getting, when AI was really, really catching the wind, right? We're going to hit a point where we can't trust audio. We can't trust video. Like, I mean, even at the court level, like it won't even be admissible as evidence because all you have to say is AI. And even Trump himself stood up and said, hey, if anything looks bad, I'm just going to say it's AI. Like he literally said that out loud. He's like, yeah, if anything, that comes up bad, I'm just going to say it's AI. I was like, oh my God, isn't that the part you're supposed to keep in your head, dude? So it's like, you're not going to be able to trust the real video. People are going to trust the fake video. And now you have a mechanism for people that have no morals to rally and instigate people, especially when they're in an emotional state, to go and hurt and harm and attack other people. And they're not going to know. Because remember, when you put out a falsehood, especially if you have a huge following, right? Like Elon Musk gets criticized for this all the time because he has 200 million followers. And he will just retweet stuff that's like blatantly wrong, like 100% wrong. Literally, there's even his own AI says that's wrong, and he'll release it as fact. And then what he'll do is he'll either delete the post or he'll issue a retraction. But the problem is that when it went hyper viral, so many more people saw it than we'll ever see any retraction or deletion.
Exactly.
So now you're going to have this huge lump of people out there that are going around that are still propagating it as truth. Right? So that's a big problem. And then no matter how many retractions you issue, you're never going to reach all the people that are already contaminated by the false information. So like a great example of this just happened last week. And there's a video of Tim Walz dancing down an escalator with a fuck Trump shirt on. Right? And so Joe Rogan picked it up and said, oh my God, Tim Walz really fucked up. Like he really did this. And he backed it up 100%. He's like, nope, this is 100%. This is not AI generated. And then on X, community notes finally piled up saying it was AI generated. And then it pointed out if you pixel peep it and put it on a big screen and you look closely, you can see that it's a face. It's a decent face replacement. It's not great by any standards. Like anybody on a regular sized TV should be able to tell this is fake. But on a phone, it looks strikingly real, right? So he's like, yeah, Tim Walz really fucked up on this one. And yeah, he's not going to be able to come back from this and blah, 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 blah. And then finally, after he gets corrected by his producer and a couple of other people, and he's like, no, it's AI. And Joe's, no, it's not AI. No, this is real. This one was definitely real. He's like, no, it's AI. I promise it's AI. He's like, well, I guess the reason I believed it was because it's something that I think he's really capable of.
Okay.
And it's like, if he was really capable of, then he would do it and you'd have the real video. like, dude, you're literally just looking for somebody to do something bad. And you're saying because you in your head think they're capable of doing a bad thing, that's somehow grounds for believing fake video of them doing a thing they never did. It's almost like it reminds me of that movie what's that movie with Tom Cruise where they would like arrest people for pre-crime or whatever it was. What was that movie where they had like the 3 weird clone ladies in the pool and the little balls rolled down the colored
Minority
ball.
Report.
Minority Report. Yeah. It kind of feels like Minority Report, where it's like you have these fake videos coming out of people doing stuff and people just believe it. And they're like, oh, even though they didn't do it, because there's a video that looks like they did it, and because I think they're capable of doing something like that, we should just treat it like it's real anyways and just keep perpetuating it. And that's become a huge problem. So it's like, what do you do in a world where you can't trust your eyes, you can't trust your ears, you can't trust anything? And then if you see it with your own eyes, even if you see it with your own eyes and you testify in court and you're like, I saw this happen, and there's a video camera that recorded the whole thing that corroborates your story, people are just going to be like, oh, well, you watched the AI generated video and then you thought you saw that. Like you didn't really see that. And it's like, so now you're not even going to be able to trust people's testifying because where they saw it, who's to say they saw it in person or they just saw it because a friend showed them a video and they're like, oh, well, I trust that friend. So if they showed me that video and it looked real, then it must be real. So I'm going to testify that I saw it happen, which does happen, by the way. This is something that actually does happen quite a bit in courts where it's a big problem where somebody's like, oh, I witnessed this thing happening. And then later on, as they dig down further and further, they find out that what they mean by they witnessed it was a very close, trusted friend told them that it happened, and they believed that friend and trusted them with their lives. Therefore, it was like they were there. But that's not the same thing, right? So 3D Medic said, I take stuff that Joe Rogan says, the test of what you can get people to believe. I mean, to be fair, Joe Rogan, he gets fooled all the time by shit. But even when he gets fooled by stuff, it's weird to see him taking something that's so divisive and so dangerous and puts like Tim Waltz in danger, like literally puts a person in danger by perpetuating this, and then pushing it as fact without doing any research other than, oh, it was a post on X, so I believe it. It was a post from somebody that I follow and and that person got fooled too. It's like, that's the thing is you're like, oh, they told me it was real and I trusted them, but where did they get it from? Did they get it from a friend that they trusted? And did that friend get it from a friend they trusted? And then at the end, one person got a little lazy and got it from somebody, and it just happened to be something they liked, so they shared it. And then as the chain of custody goes on, it's like, oh, but I trusted him, but I trusted him. No, but I trusted him. But in reality, you follow the chain of custody back, and it's like there was never anything from the beginning that would have given that any credibility. That credibility grew out of nothing. Just wild, man. Hey, Pod Lassie one, thank you for the $2.75 super chat. Said, admire your tech knowledge and guest David. Yeah, David, it was so cool to have David on last week. It had been so long. Like, people have been messaging me being like, hey, did you have a falling out with David? Did something go wrong? Because he's not that active on X anymore. Like, he posts, but he doesn't interact, right?
Right.
So they thought that we had like a falling out or something like that. So when they saw him come back, they were like super happy about that. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Everybody immediately thinks if you don't do something with somebody in the public eye, there's some hate going on there.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with like Chris Perillo. They did the same thing with me and
assume benign intent at a minimum. Benign. Yep. Like, that's just neutrality. Why? And it's the natural response to this. Is why you're not afraid of the dark, right? You're afraid of what could be in the dark. It's the unknown. That's what you're really afraid of.
Yep.
And so a lot of people fill blank spaces with negativity, and you assume the worst and all that kind of stuff. And don't do that. You're just causing your own self. You're just causing stress for yourself. Assume benign intent at least, which is like a neutrality. Like, you shouldn't assume that, oh, they're fighting or whatever. Like,
yeah, that happened with me. Like Chris Perillo, people thought Chris Perillo and I were at war. People thought me and Jay were at war just because we didn't make videos together anymore. It's like, dude, just I don't know, man. I feel like there's a thirst for drama. Like, there's a thirst that's developed for drama where it's like people, I don't know if it's because they want to be distracted away from other more serious drama or what the deal is, but boy, I do feel like people want the drama, like they feed on it. Like when they see it, they get excited about it. And I've even talked to my wife about this too, where it's like she likes, the whole gossip thing, the reality TV shows and stuff like that to a certain extent, some of them.
Yep.
And and she's honest with herself. She's like it does, like, when there's like drama going on in the celebrity community, even if it's made up and even if it's obviously fake or whatever, and it's just for publicity, it still drags a bunch of people in because they want to buy into it. They want to be a part of it. They feel like it's something to do. I don't know what the deal is. Like when the new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson. By the way, amazing movie. I wasn't gonna watch it because I thought funny. You can't one up Leslie Nielsen. You can't do it. I felt like this. There's no way this movie could be done in a way that paid true homage to the original. Like, I felt like it was just a cash grab. Yeah. And I watched it and I changed my mind within the first like 10 minutes of the movie. I was like, they nailed it so perfectly. And not only that, but they connect it to the original. It's not like it's literally the next generation. It's like the kids of the people from the original Naked Gun. And it is done so brilliantly. And Liam Neeson's performance is amazing. Like, he plays Frank Drebin Jr. so perfectly. Like, if you get a chance to watch it, if you like the original, if you didn't like the original Naked Gun, you're not going to like the new one. They're very, very similar in their tone. But I was so pleased with how it turned out, and I was like kind of mad that I almost didn't watch it too. I almost didn't watch it because I was like, oh man, I don't want to. Leslie Nielsen did something so good, like you can't. I don't want anything to take away from that. No, it did. It was amazing. It was amazing. And honestly, even Pamela Anderson, she did a great job too. She did a fantastic job. Right on. But one of the things they did during the movie is to stir up, publicity for the movie, because everybody's got to get their publicity in their movie. they made it look like Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson hooked up as a couple after the shoot. Like, oh, they met on the, because this happens during movies, right? Yeah. Actors and actresses meet up and hook up.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going around, like that they were at least dating or,
yeah, and
or at least hanging
friends.
out or something.
Yep,
yeah.
They're just friends, but they perpetuated the story and led people on and went on to shows, and they're like, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, are you guys romantically involved? Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, we've seen you guys. No, it was all calculated and it was all put together just as a promotion stunt. They were never, they were just friends and coworkers. But they're good actors, right? They can make a kiss look convincing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all just to get the Naked Gun like promoted as like, oh, Liam Neeson, you know, and Pamela Anderson hooked up. And Liam Neeson actually has a really sad story if you go back like in his life. Like his wife died, and I mean, a lot of tragedy in his past. And so I think people knowing that when they saw, oh, he found love with Pamela Anderson. Oh, you know, oh, this is, you know, the, heartfelt story. This was like, you know, a break from drama, but it worked. It helped promote the movie like crazy. It got him on like every show, like all the morning shows and shit that normally didn't have people on even to like talk about like movies unless it was like an A-list or like, you know, like super mega production. They were even getting on there because everybody wanted to know. The question was, hey, are you guys a couple? Are you guys together? Like, you know, kind of going in that way, kind of prodding in that way. And they led everybody on brilliantly. And I was like, well, there you go. There's a master class in how to get a whole bunch of people to know about your movie that didn't know about it. And a whole bunch of people that never even heard of Naked Gun are now watching your movie. Right? It's wild. Exuded said, should make a 24/7 Twitch stream replaying your YouTube videos, some extra easy money. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm not the easy money type. I turned down almost every sponsorship. I only have a very few affiliates that I've used for years and years and years and years. I don't do the super hustle, super low hanging fruit thing. And I know that it would work and it would generate some extra revenue and stuff like that, but I try not to do what everybody else is doing, because I feel like then I just become a part of the same problem. And if I don't like it, why would I do it? Like, I don't want to be a hypocrite too and be like, oh, I don't think those people should be doing it. And then I'm like, oh, money? Oh, okay. Well, I changed my mind. I get it. I get the hustle. The people that do it, I have nothing against them. Hey, they're just trying to keep up. They're trying to, just like companies, you know, if one company does something bad to lower the price of their product at the expense of their workers, the other person is forced to do it. Otherwise, they have to dissolve their business and everybody loses their jobs, right? Or they have to fire some people to make sure that there's still some people that have jobs, instead of just dissolving the entire company to try to keep them all, right? And so I get it. But for me personally, until I am like literally hanging off a cliff, which I'm not too far from, by my pinkies, you know, I really don't want to go down that path unless I absolutely have to. And because here's the thing, everybody on Twitch is doing that right now. There are so many people that just have the 24/7 channel running. They'll pop in, they'll do their live thing for a little while, they log off, and then it's just a continuous stream 24/7 of all their videos on loop or their past live streams on loop. And then they just have mods rotating in and out in different time zones and everything, you know, just keeping an eye on things. And a lot of people that come in and watch don't even realize that it's not live half the time for like the first 10 or 15 minutes. So you see a bunch of people come in and they tip, and, you know, they tip or they give subs or whatever. And then it doesn't pop up on the screen and nobody mentions it. And a mod might be like, hey, thanks for the support. Or they're like, hey, why isn't anybody interacting? Why aren't they replying? And it's because they're not there. Right. So, and they definitely don't go out of their way to put a big thing on the screen that says this is not live. Right. I know there's small indicators, but they're ones that even I miss. Sometimes I'll even click on a stream and be in chat talking and be like, hey, what's up? And then I notice they don't respond. And I'm like, oh, shit, they're not awake. This is just an endless loop.
Yeah. I think you're supposed to. I think on Twitch you're supposed to label them if you're going to do those sort of streams.
You're supposed to, but sadly, I don't see a lot of people like doing it in a very honest and straightforward way. It's always a little wishy-washy and workaroundy. Let's see here. Ryan said, I hope you're okay for income, Jerry. Not even close. Not even close. I don't even make enough in a month right now to pay even my mortgage, let alone any other bill. So not even close. However, I'm living off my 401k.
Time to take that fucking Raid Shadow Legends money, man.
I will never take the Raid Shadow Legends money ever. However, I am considering becoming a social media manager for a company that my friend operates.
There you go.
I haven't decided to do it, but I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna be stuck on social media all day and everything, I might as well have a distraction of like running a company's social media and learn about analytics and all that stuff. And you know, I could probably learn a lot from the position in the process of actually doing it. And plus, it would also allow me to do coding too, because a big part of the social media management would be creating the infrastructure and the automation and the AI and everything to like interact with the public and connect them to the right people. and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about it.
Good. Why think about it, man? Just do it.
Because I don't want to let my friend down. My biggest fear is that I take the job and my health fucking wipes me out for another 2 weeks, and then he doesn't get what he needs and he doesn't have a backup. So I need to make sure that when I take the job,
somebody doing it for him now. He's already not getting what he needs.
I mean, that's true. That's true. And honestly, and that's the other thing is I hate like being like, oh, hey, we're buddies or whatever. Like cut me some slack, or hey, give me a better deal than everybody else. I don't know. So I'm one of those people where it's like, if I work for my friend,
you are filling blank spaces with negativity right now, Jerry. Stop it. Stop it. You have all these. I don't know, and you are first off, you're already saying no to somebody who has already told you yes. They want you to do the job.
Well, I didn't tell them no. I didn't tell them no.
But you're making reasons to say no. You're making all these reasons to say no for stuff that you don't even know. That there's all these maybes and what ifs, and it could be this, or I could let him down, or I could be hurt for 2 weeks and let him down. You're filling all of this blank space with negativity instead of how good it could turn out.
That's fair.
Even if it's part-time, you do it for 2 to 4 hours a day.
It would be part-time. It would be definitely part-time.
So, even at your worst, I know you could put in 2 hours of something that would be helpful for this person.
Oh yeah. No, I could. You're right.
So
you're right.
Don't you stop it.
All right, fine.
And you could even start. You could even start with just 2 hours a day. I bet this guy would, whoever it is. I don't even need to know. We don't even need to know. Don't even say. But I bet you could just ease into it. Even 2 hours a day. I bet. And that's you sleep 3 hours a day, so that means you got 21 hours every rotation. You can find 2 hours to put into it.
I could definitely, even if I'm in bed, I'd put my laptop. I could do that job. It's social media management. It's what I do.
Exactly.
Right. It's the one thing. It's the one skill that I still have.
Exactly.
And just to be fair, I want everybody to know, like, this wouldn't be like a super high paying job or anything like this. This would be just this is a couple of bucks and a friend helping me out. So yeah, it's a little extra. Right. No, you're right. That's exactly why I'm considering it.
Right.
I think you were assuming. I think you were assuming that I was going to tell him no, but here's the reason why I didn't say yes on the spot. Is because when I work for a friend, I have to be better for them than a person who's not their friend. I cannot take advantage of a friendship.
Right.
I refuse to do that.
That says to me that you are not, all this other stuff that you're saying about, oh, I'm going to let him down and stuff, is not going to happen.
Jamie said, take the job while you're still young and healthy. Oh, that ship sailed a long time ago, brother. Imagine when you can't walk properly, you'll be regretting. I can't walk properly now. I can hardly sit in this chair. Plus, I have to go through a drug titration this month, so that's going to be fun. But no, I'll take the job. I'll take the job.
Because
I know you convinced me.
You won't let them down.
No, and I'm not gonna let him down. Like I'm not gonna let him down. And it'll be one of those deals too, where it's like, yeah, if health ends up taking me out and I can't do it for whatever reason, then I'm not gonna take a penny from him. So it's like nothing lost, right? But Graham said, I'll take it. Hey, Graham, if things work out, I may be able to recommend other people and bring them on board because this company is going to grow really fast. I think they're funded for like 3 years. They just got their I can't say what company it is or anything like that. And I won't be, even though when I'm working there, I obviously won't be able to tell anybody what company it is. But it is a tech company. So there is that. So it is in my bailiwick. But yeah, they got funded for like 2 or 3 years. They got fully funded, which like the investors literally just chunked down a big chunk of cash and said one big lump sum or whatever, this is to fund you for 3 years. And then after 3 years, we'll renegotiate the terms or whatever. And we'll either give you more money or if you go public, like at that time, they may go public. They're not going to go public like right out of the gate. But the goal will be they'll eventually go public. And if they do, then the people that, invested in the companies or whatever will get distributions, or they'll already have stock distributions. So those will become valuable though, right? Once the company becomes publicly traded, usually if the company is doing well enough to get publicly traded, they're not going to just like crash down to zero unless they're doing something shady. And this isn't a shady company. They're not selling, they're not selling like, they're selling a service that people in the professional tech industry absolutely need. So that there's a huge, massive demand for. So I don't have any concerns that the company is going to like dry up and disappear tomorrow. But my concerns still do include, like, I wouldn't have to worry about my job probably just because I'm in the bro system and I'm a friend, which also that would make me feel kind of bad. But hey, it was no different at Microsoft, right? You had to play the same game, right? Whether you liked it or not, if you got along well with your management and everything, the next thing you know, you're going out to bars with them and drinking and hanging out and fishing with them. And then when it's time for people to get shit canned, you're magically off the list, right? And that happened a lot at Microsoft, still does today. So I don't like that aspect of it, but at least if the company, you know, became heavily AI and automated and everything like that, I'd probably still have, you know, a part-time job. But I went and looked at my Social Security the other day. Because I was looking at disability as an option because my doctor talked about it. He's like, yeah, you should look into it as an option when, you know, you don't have a lot of other options, because you definitely qualify. Like, I meet all the requirements to go on disability and basically early retirement. But the amount of money that I'd be given, and not even considering that I'd have to also pay taxes on that. That's the funny thing. Is like you pay into Social Security and then you get a Social Security check, and then you got to pay taxes on the Social Security income.
Isn't that dumb?
It's so stupid. But yeah, the amount of money that I made wouldn't be enough for me and my family to survive here. We'd still have to sell everything and move to like the cheapest possible place in like Eastern Washington into a trailer, and that would still be a struggle with the money that I'd get. It's so little. Like, when you look at it, it's like, unless you're 67 years old and you started working when you were like 18 and paying like super heavily into Social Security and stuff like that, yeah, the distribution available to you is going to be next to nothing. And let's be honest, but if I even make it to 67, which I highly doubt I will, given my family's genetics and my problems I'm already having, the amount of money that would pay out, the projected amount of money that pay out then would be so much less than even today. Like, if I took the distribution today, just because of anticipated inflation and stuff like that. And cost of living. So it's like, yeah, and it's probably not even going to be there anyways, right? I mean, the Social Security, you know, current administration wants to shit can it. They want to get rid of it. So, and if they get rid of it, then you get nothing. Everything you paid into it is gone. Like, you know, a lifetime of getting, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 a month or whatever. If you made it to 67 and paid in a huge amount, that little tiny bit that probably wouldn't even cover your mortgage by the time you're 60, by the time I'm 67, that's going to be gone. It won't even be there. And you're not going to get a refund. It's not like you're going to get your money back that you paid into it. That'd be nice, though. I wonder how much that would be. I should calculate that sometime and see like how much Social Security I paid over the 15 years I was at Microsoft, and what that would be if they just had to cash refund that all. They're not going to, obviously. But like, if they were like, hey, we're getting rid of Social Security, we're going to give everybody their money back. I wonder how much that lump sum would be. It'd probably be somewhat sizable. I don't think it's going to be like a crazy amount, but I'd imagine it'd be something like $50,000 or $75,000. Bear Williams said you only pay taxes if your income is over a certain amount, and you'll often get more back if you're on SSDI levels. Social Security disability, yeah, and I would qualify for disability. My doctor already said that's no problem. He already told me that I could get a sticker to park wherever I want. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that, because I know if I get it, I'm going to use it, and then it's one less reason to force me to walk like an extra 50 feet. Right. I could sell my bathwater to simps. James Shayna said that would buy. There are simps that would buy it. James, you'd buy it. Don't even lie. You know you'd be my top customer, dude. You and Pele. You'd be lapping that shit up. Third Shifter said, wow, my son has only 10% use of his left arm and hand and can't get disability. They said got one good arm. Get a job. Holy shit, Third Shifter. Are you serious? Wow. And yet I qualify, because I'm fat and have degenerative nerve problems and bone spurs. Fuck, man. What a weird world, man. Kyle said, what if you used the 401k to try and pay off the mortgage, and then Social Security just had to cover annual taxes and living expenses? The 401k could definitely pay off the mortgage, but the mortgage is such a low percentage right now that because of the refis that I've done, and I've doubled down. I think I only owe like 60,000 left on my house, 50 or 60,000. So, oh shit, another spider. God damn it. Where are these things coming from?
Get them.
Oh, I gotta kill him. Get out of here. Get out of here, little fucker. Die. I got him. Oh, God.
Nice.
Oh, he was a juicy one, too. Oh, gross. Oh, gross. Dude, he like smeared across my whole desk. I tried to make the death as quick as possible, guys. I don't like to see suffering, but that's the second spider now I've killed today, which is weird because I was just watching the news yesterday and they're like, it's spider season in Seattle, Washington. Like, I saw the news article pop up, and now the day after that news article, I've found and killed 2 spiders, walked into a web. Ugh. At least it's not a frog. Yeah, did you hear about that? A frog literally came in during a live stream. I was sitting here on my computer doing a Twitch stream a couple of weeks ago, And no shit, a tree frog, little itty bitty baby tree frog, like half the size of a normal tree frog, starts going up my monitor. And I thought that like there was a glitch or like I was hacked or something was running on my computer. I'm like, what the fuck? Because it looked like pixels of a frog jumping across my screen, like crawling at my screen like Frogger. And then I looked closer and I was like, wait a second, that's a real fucking frog. So I grabbed him and I showed him on stream, and he was the cutest little thing. I took him outside and poured a little water, like dug a little hole in the dirt and put water in there, made him a little oasis and stuck him in there. And then of course, he ran away from it in the wrong direction towards all the predators. So I'm sure he didn't make it very long, but it was crazy that a frog, I'm on a second story of a house. And somehow a tree frog crawled up the whole side of my house, found an opening somewhere in like a window or he had to come through the AC somehow. And he crawled through the AC, squeezed himself through a little gap to get in the room, and then came all the way from the AC all the way clear over the other side of the room to get on my desk and jump on the screen. I'm like, damn, that frog was on a mission. David T said, Jerry, you're sweating? Yeah, I'm in a lot of pain. that comes with the territory, brother. That's just sadly how it is, man. Yeah, that's something I have to deal with all the time. It really sucks. Oh, excuse me. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. Wait, why is this? What the fuck is going on here? Clicked the wrong button and it wasn't letting me unsubscribe. Yeah, no, David, I sweat all the time, dude. I sweat all the time. Pain is a bitch. And the thing is, it's cold in here. Like, I'm not doing anything. Actually, wait a second. It's 72 degrees in here. It should not be 72.
Normal?
It should not be 72. That actually is really warm. Let me see. Let me check my device, my ESP32, and see if it crashed. Because if it crashes, then something else takes command of the system. Although I think it's on. Is it on right now? Yeah, I mean, it's on and blowing cold air. Maybe I'll turn this fan on down here. Yeah, that's weird. It should not be 72, though. 72 it should be 68 degrees in here. So something is messed up. Cryptopsy said, I'm not sure. Maybe it was an AI. I'm just kidding. I saw it too. What did James Janus say? Top customer of Jerry's Bathwater. I wish currently no money. Got the pink slip at work a couple of weeks ago. Fuck, dude. Okay, I'm going to ask a question here. How many people in chat have been laid off in the last 6 months? Not fired. Not fired for like you did a shitty job or you took a shit on Deborah's desk or whatever. But like you legitimately got laid off, completely unexpected. And I'm curious if it had anything to do with AI. Like, are you in an IT business, or was this something completely unrelated and unaffected by AI? However, I'd argue that there's very few businesses right now that are not impacted by AI. Like, I mean, AI has been impacting. As a matter of fact, even fuck with Adobe. Like, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see mass layoffs from Adobe here pretty soon. Those VR base stations add some heat to your room. You know, Bradley, I didn't even think about that. I probably should shut those things down instead of having them just run 24/7. Because those are actually spinning LiDARs in those things. I'm pretty sure those base stations have like a high-speed spinning motor in them that probably burns out over time. Those things are really expensive to replace. Not AI, business downsizing. Oh, but because of the economy, right? Because of the economical downturn and cost of goods and stuff like that. Because sadly, that's killed a lot of businesses, man. I've been seeing every day at least a couple of Facebook posts from friends and family that are like, either the company they work for is downsizing or going under, or their own personal businesses, they're dissolving them right now. Like you know, they're side hustles. They're just killing them because they're not profitable anymore. A lot of them had to do with Etsy. Like, Etsy's got to be taking a huge hit because almost everything sold on Etsy is either imported from China or the parts are imported from China to manufacture that thing.
Or other places, like I got some leather stuff out of Ukraine a few years ago. There's a bunch of stuff that come out of Europe that they won't even ship at all. Like, they're flat out. I think it was the UK at least is flat out not sending things to the US. Like the Royal Post, not doing it at all. Like, you can't send things to the US because of the tariff stuff and whatnot. I don't know if that may have changed. That was a while back. I saw some talk about that stuff.
Here, I'm curious to see. Let's see if there's any news on. Are there any current problems with people importing things into the United States, getting stuck in customs? What currently is causing the problems? It's funny. AI is just a search engine for. You know, I kind of feel bad for like search engines like Bing and Google. It's like, When was the last time you used a search engine to find something? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I use Copilot way more than I use a search engine now because it's a search engine that not only finds the sites that you want, but also extracts the content from them to show that that's the site you want to visit in the first place. So I use AI for distilling information from search engines like every single day, multiple times a day. And it's usually Copilot, even though I have all these paid AIs like to use like Grok and stuff that all have access to the web and have access to MCP and other services. Copilot is just free. And copilot.microsoft.com. It's just free. I mean, obviously it's not free. You're the product. They're harvesting all your data and using it to train AI and teach the AI how to better manipulate you and give you answers that put you in a position that's more beneficial for them without you realizing it. But still, I mean, it still has decent use. Let's see here. Yes, I still have problems pending 3 tools not being able to be shipped to the US because of the tariffs. Okay, so stuff's still getting stuck with the tariff. Because here's the thing. If you order something from China, you're going to pay for it directly to them, not through customs. You're going to pay for it directly to them. Then they're going to ship it. They're going to pay the shipping that they charged you or whatever, right? And then it's going to hit customs, and customs is going to be like, oh, well, tariffs change every 45 seconds, so there's a new tariff now. So now the shipping cost with that included is more, so we can't get it to the destination until that's paid. And they don't send it back to the company and say, you pay the tariff. They contact the recipient and say, if you want to receive this product, you have to pay it. And then if you don't pay it, it gets shipped back to the source. And those companies usually won't refund you for that because they're like, oh, we already expelled the labor to package that up and send it to you and everything. And now it's come back to us. That's wasting our time and our resources. We can't give you 100% return. Because a lot of businesses here in the United States, the reason that they can eat those costs and give you a full return like Costco is because they make so much other money in other areas.
Yeah.
When you talk about like liquidation pricing and like bottom tier pricing, like you get from China and bulk pricing and stuff like that, they don't have a built-in mechanism to eat the costs of refunding stuff like that, especially on cheap goods. So, you order something that's $5 from China. Next thing you know, customs like, well, you owe us, 120% tariffs. So that's going to be, you've got to send us $7 more. Now you're like, is it really worth it now to pay more than double the price of the item? Like I should have just bought it on Amazon in the first place. But then you realize Amazon imported it from China. And once their stock is out and they have to reorder from China, now they have to pay the tariff, which means now they have to pass that on to you. So now if you buy it from Amazon, it's still going to cost more than if you bought it from China and paid the tariff. So it's a shitty system. It really is. Pod Lassie said, what AI do you recommend? Actually, I want to ask Ox, because Ox, I know you've been playing with some AIs, like doing like the Dungeons and Dragon games and stuff. I don't know how much recently, but I know you've played with some AIs. What's your favorite out of all the ones you've played with so far?
I still use ChatGPT a lot. Okay. I've been starting to play with Gemini a little more. Mostly through Notebook LM, which is still a Google thing. But then part of that is Gemini as well. And then I think it was James Janis put me onto Perplexity. I haven't done a whole lot with it yet.
I always forget about Perplexity, but it's honestly one of the better ones.
Yeah, I've been hearing some good stuff about Anthropic in general, like their product base, and I want to explore it a little bit more.
They're a big leader. And they're also, they have a free offering too. So if you go to here, I'll put the link in chat here for you guys. It's perplexity.ai. Mm-hmm. And here,
I think that is an Anthropic one, right?
It is. Yeah, Perplexity is Anthropic.
Is it a long O or is it a short O?
Is it
probably a short O? Is it a long O, Anthropic, or a short O?
I think it's short O. I think it's a short O.
I think so too. That feels more natural.
Yep. And if you just log in with like a Google account, I think they give you like unlimited queries on a couple of their different models. So, and you can create, this is the funny thing is like all these AIs give you a free number of certain queries per Google account or per Microsoft account. And so you just create multiple Microsoft accounts and you're allowed to, like, that's legitimately allowed. Like Microsoft and Google both have a TOS that say you can have as many Gmail accounts as you want. If you want to have 10,000 Gmail accounts, you're totally allowed to. You can create 10. You can even go to each of those 10,000 Gmail accounts and put your primary account as your primary account when you're creating the other accounts, like the recovery account. And they still won't come back and go, oh, you've already got 50,000 accounts. You can't create another one. Maybe at that level they would step in. But you can create so many accounts. I've had up to 20 before, like 20 Gmail accounts, all active and operating at the same time. And then what you do is on services like Suno, is you just log out and log in again, and there you go. You got 3 more songs. Log out, log in again. You got 3 more songs. Log out, log in again. You got 3 more songs. Times 20. Now you got 30 songs a day. That's more than what you'd get if you paid them like $40 a month for the one account. Now, granted, you don't get to carry over. You don't get to save. Your libraries are now spread across multiple accounts and stuff like that. So there is inconvenience involved, obviously, but it's not bad. Like, and it's not against the rules, which is what's interesting to me. It's like you can pretty much use these AIs as much as you freaking want. Bradley said, have you tried Horizon Worlds Builder? I've heard of that. Is that the one where you run around the AI generated world in real time at like 60 frames per second or something like that? I've seen a couple different AIs. I haven't tried one yet.
From the meta thing.
Let me see. What is this? So Horizon Worlds. Let's see. What is it? Create your first Horizon World. Oh, is this the VR thing? Horizon Worlds, like, this is the Rec Room equivalent, right? Like Meta's Rec Room equivalent. I have not played with it. I don't
think so.
I've not played with it, but if it's anything like Rec Room where you can like create your own mini games and your own worlds and like invite people into it and stuff, no, I haven't played with that. However, my son has asked me if, not recently, but a while ago, he asked me, he said, hey, Dad, can you make Rec Rooms? Like, can you make your own rooms in Rec Room? Because I see all these other people making games and making rooms and invite people there. And it turns out, yes, you can. Rec Room has an entire API and graphical environment for like creating 3D worlds and games and all the way down to like creating like mechanics. Like you can like create complex systems. Like there's a paintball game, there's a laser tag game, there's a driving monster trucks game, there's racing games with tracks. And you're like, how do all these different games all work in the same world? And it's because they give you a very generic set of like mechanical blocks that you attach stuff. If you want to drive a car, you basically take an RC car model, you attach it to a full-size car, you put a seat in it, you put a steering wheel in it, you put the driver's POV at that specific place looking out the window, and then you map the controls, the steering wheel and stuff, to the turning of the wheels on the RC car, and then you map that to, and you can do it. You can actually take this RC car and turn it into like a full-blown, full-size car. And my son did it once, like while I was in VR with him, he did it with something called a maker pen. You don't even have to go on the PC and do it. He's in there with the maker pen. He's like, oh yeah, connect this, create the wheels, and you connect that to the chassis, and you connect this. He's just dragging and dropping everything. And next thing you know, you got a car that you can jump into and drive around. And I'm like, you just made a car. Like you took a couple like boxes and blocks and put them together and strapped and bound this RC car to it and hit it. So you can't see the RC car, but the RC car mechanics are in play. And then you like bind it and drag these things to other things. It just works. And I was like, that's badass. Kind of reminds me of like Gary's mod.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Rec Room is VR Roblox. I like it way better than Roblox. And my son agrees. Like Rec Room is 10 times better than Roblox in my opinion. I feel like Roblox is way too focused on the money side of things. Like the whole Robux mechanic.
I agree.
And Rec Room isn't. Rec Room does have like, you can buy credits and buy clothing and stuff like that in Rec Room. But I feel like when you go play games in Rec Room, it's not just slathered with, oh, you need the Robux, you need the Robux, you need the Robux. No, you can go in there and play all day and never see anything shake you down for money. David T said, Jerry, are you still subjected to NDAs from working at Microsoft? No, all my NDAs are long expired. Long expired. Now, obviously, I can't I can't like release their like Windows source code if I had it, but my NDAs as far as like what knowledge I can share and everything like that, they're long expired. I think one of them was 3 years, another one was 7 years, and so I'm outside of both of them now. So what do you want to know? Just kidding. I tell you everything. God, I love Miss Swan, man. Miss Swan is the greatest character. I tell you everything. He looked like a man. Canada shut down the only tunnel bus going from Boston to Windsor due to them helping the USA. Canada shut down the only tunnel bus going from Boston to Windsor.
Okay.
Like, who is helping? Because I mean, if you're going to Boston, obviously you're taking people to some place in the United States, so you're obviously helping. Let's see here. Yes, Detroit. Windsor due to them helping the USA. Detroit was helping the USA? Detroit isn't the USA. I think I'm just confused. Oh, the Metro, the Detroit Metro. They shut it. They shut it down because they didn't like that they were helping Canada. Well, no, you said Canada shut it down. Canada shut down the only tunnel bus going from Boston Windsor due to them helping the USA. So somebody was helping the USA, and it must have been somewhere in Canada, because the USA wouldn't help itself, so it wouldn't be Detroit helping the USA. Try to lay it out a little bit more plain text than that. Okay, I'm from near Detroit, so I figured that's what you meant. I think I'm just missing something. Okay, Borderlands 4 topic? Oh, we can definitely talk about Borderlands.
It runs like trash.
Dude, all I've heard about it, and I've asked a couple people, including my neighbors out on my lawn yesterday when I got home from my doctor's appointment. My neighbors are so used to not seeing me anymore because I'm so laid up and an introvert all the time. They always run over when they see me outside to like catch up on life because they're scared they're not going to see me for another 6 or 8 months. So they came over and we started talking about gaming with my 2 other neighbors, and they both said that like Borderlands runs like absolute ass. And these are people that both have 5090s, by the way. Both actually no, one has a 5090, the other one has a 4090. They both said it runs like ass. Like right out of the box, even with optimization settings under Nvidia, which is supposed to make it run really good. Nope, runs like ass. And it just, there's no optimization. You can tell that they raced the market so fast, like they had to get the Borderlands out so fast that they've done no code optimization. Like I would be willing to bet.
Not the only ones though. Is the thing.
Yeah, as long as it runs, as long as it works. I would bet you it's a debug build. I bet you there is so much telemetry and shit in there that's like reporting back to their servers, and they're collecting so much stuff because they want the customer base to find their bugs for them, just like Microsoft does now, right? It's a really popular business model. Why hire and pay professionals to find the bugs when you can just roll it out to your customers, and then the super hardcore customers, they're willing to take the pain up front. They fix the bugs and go through the pain so you can fix it, even if you're not reporting
part of it. I do think that's part of it. I also just think this has been an ongoing trend for, I would say 5 years, but again, it's probably actually longer. The games, look at Bethesda. It's a fucking joke now. It's like, it's just expected that their games are going to be whack and buggy. They've put out Skyrim for over and over and over again for 12 years, and it's still the same buggy mess. Like, developers are caught. Well, I think it's more publishers. Developers are stuck because they need money to develop the game. So they go to a publisher or some other sort of investment and say, hey, look, we need a bunch of money so that we can survive while we make this cool idea that we have. And this is pointed more toward still AAA, but like these more sort of not independent, but just like, my angle in this is going to be more or less like Activision, Blizzard, that kind of a thing, and more like Take-Two and that kind of a thing. More, not the big 3 ones like EA, and that's a whole different problem there. But more like, we talked about this before the stream. Think about like what CD Projekt Red did with Cyberpunk. Okay, it came out, it was a buggy mess, and there's no arguing that. The trouble is, we'll use that for the example so I don't get off topic too bad.
Or No Man's Sky. That's another great example, right?
Yeah, that's another good example, actually. Where there was a great idea, but that's also an example of don't let your devs talk to the press. Like, you're supposed to have a PR guy. You're supposed to have somebody who's trained to talk to
it's the everything game. It has everything. You can do everything.
Devs talk to the press, and they talk big ideas and stuff, and they don't fucking moderate themselves. But Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red had not made a first-person shooter before. A first-person like mega RPG, a very complicated. They'd never done this before. I think they used a modified version of the same engine that they did for Witcher 3, at least at first. I think maybe they changed engines at some point. I don't recall. But whatever. They had never made this kind of game before. It was very big, very ambitious. They brought in outside investment, which then put pressure on them to release the game at a particular time.
Yep.
Like, we can't delay. I think they had 1 or 2 delays, but they're like, we can't delay this anymore. We have to put this out. Otherwise, shareholders are going to get upset. Like, we've invested all this money into your game. It has to come out. It doesn't matter if it's buggy. We need these first day sales so that we can make our investment back. And you see this over and over and over again. That's part of the problem, is the pressure from investment to meet a deadline regardless, right?
Plus, to know anything can be patched. Anything can be patched at any time over high-speed internet.
So nobody gives a shit. Fuck it. We'll just fix it. I heard Cyberpunk had a huge overhaul, and it did. Over time even, but their big 2.0 update was incredible. It changed a lot, and it was really, really good.
Drive it, it wasn't. You can't even. The games aren't even the same. Like, it's that much of a change.
Totally different. Yeah. so that's part of it. But then also, especially recently with Unreal Engine, actually, it's not even just Unreal Engine. I don't want to pick on Epic in that way. Just over time, over the last like 10, 15 years, the hardware has become very powerful, and that, in my opinion, has made this is gonna sound really bad. This has made developers lazy. They don't have to.
I don't think that's bad. I agree. I 100% agree with you.
And it's not lazy either, because again, it does also tie back to that pressure from publishers and investors and things like that to put out a game that isn't quite finished. But at the same time, they lean so heavily on like UE5. You hear that all the time, especially UE5, Unreal Engine 5, has all these really cool tools built into it that just automatically can make your game look really, really good. But it's not optimized. It's not, you have to go in there and you have to,
right.
It's like when you write code in .NET, right? There's all kinds of extras in there that do things automatically for you, like just like garbage collection, just on its own, automatic garbage. I don't have to release the memory anymore, right? Like you do with C++, right?
But you have to pay for it. You do pay for it.
Yeah, you pay for it in performance. If you write in C or C++, like raw like that, your memory management alone is going to be you have to make it more efficient. But with these engines, especially Unreal Engine 5, you don't have to care about it, because it's just going to get taken care of in the back end. There's all these libraries and stuff and all these bits and pieces that just do it for you. But
plus compiler optimizations, right? People lean on compiler optimizations a lot.
And so you hear all the time, this is a UE5 problem. It's a UE5 problem. Well, and it kind of is. It's because it's a combination of, the engine will take care of it, and also we don't have time to make the game more tight, the code tight and efficient and all this stuff. This is why you always hear, there's memory leaks, or there's weird graphic pop-ins and graphic problems and this and that. And it's like, because you can't, there's not enough time, and there's just not a care really.
Yeah.
But you do have really good examples of developers and publishers that work together to where like a publisher will just trust the creative vision and let it happen. I always bring up Baldur's Gate 3 as a good example of, I don't know who published Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate would have been.
Let me see. I'll bring up the store page real fast. On Steam.
I have an image of it in my head.
It was Larian. So that was built all by themselves.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't have guessed that.
And published it themselves. So they're a little more in that sort of like AA, almost indie space. Like it's hard to call them indie, but they have a track record of making really good. They make they focus on a niche, right? You go back and look at the games that they make. They make tremendously good third-person turn-based RPGs. That's what they do. And so even if another publisher came in and gave them a bunch of money, they would have to trust that Larian is going to do what they do best.
Yeah.
They focus on the niche, and it's amazing. It's good.
I feel like games that create their own engines and maintain their own engines, generally, and then maybe not in the very beginning, but in the end, I feel like they usually have the most polished and optimized games. Dude,
look at Witcher 2, Witcher 3. That is the perfect evolution of how they changed, not just
or like CryEngine. CryEngine's a great example of in the beginning it was rough, but like towards the end it was one of the most performant engines there was.
That's actually a really good example, because the joke was, can it run Crysis? And it's not because, partly because Crysis looked very good and it was like a graphical, smorgasbord, but also it was an unoptimized mess. It was their first try at this, and now look at what it's great. It's great stuff. It's amazing, and so, yeah. Does anyone not know what a?
Yeah, I was asking if anybody here does. Like a lot of people that aren't developers might not understand what we're talking about when we say like a gaming engine, because there's graphics engines, there's game engines, there's logic engines, there's AI engines.
Basically a collection of tools, because a lot of game engines now will have all of those extra stuff built into them. So like Unreal Engine has a physics engine, it has an AI thing.
I look at it as like an operating system for games.
Yeah, it's a collection of tools that allow you to kind of piece things together to make a game, right? That way you don't have to write your own block of code for collision detection. You don't have to write your own block of code for grabbing inputs and then doing something with them. That kind of stuff.
If you've ever written a game in like assembly, it's like you literally have to go to each memory address. You have to put a value into the memory address for what color pixel you want, and you do it by setting a red, green, a blue, and an alpha value in the form of bytes. So it's like 4 to 8 bytes. It
basically gives you all the tools so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel over and over and over again. Because somebody out there has already done a good job of making a block of code that does a thing.
But but the great example I think that we missed, like the example I think that really, really points us out as far as using an engine versus using your own custom built thing that's well optimized, is look at John Carmack. Look at Quake.
Sure.
The Quake 2016 was one of the fastest performing 3D graphics engines, period. Like you could get that thing up to like 800, 900 frames per second.
Back then, there weren't a lot of publicly available like tools like that. You had to build it yourself.
But John Carmack is still using his own engine today, even for the new Quake game, as far as I know, unless they change something.
Yeah.
And the reason being is John Carmack has an entire career of optimization of 3D engines. Like the guy knows every trick to eke out every bit of performance.
The thing is, I don't want to poo-poo on game engines. It's not a matter of using
I'm not poo-pooing on them. You're trading time for
the fact that you can go into Unreal Engine, you can use the little physics thing and whatever plug, I don't know the right terminology. You can use their thing, but you still have the option of going into that and gutting out all the stuff that you don't need and tightening it up and optimizing it. It's all there. You can do it, but like nobody bothers. They just that's where you get weird interactions with systems that don't make sense. Like you'll have characters standing on top of the car driving around and you can't figure out why. It's because you just put a bunch of these really bloated bits and pieces together to make it all work, and it's like it's okay, and it only happens like 10, not even 10% of the time, so who cares?
So old games like Mario Brothers and stuff were like written in like straight up C and assembly, right? So these are they were literally optimizing every byte because they had so few resources on the computer. They had to use every trick in the book, like flipping textures upside down when they were writing on the screen, doing color palette shifts and stuff like that, so they could reuse pixel blocks because there wasn't a lot of memory, there wasn't a lot of resource, so they had to optimize the shit out of it. But nowadays we have so much memory and so much hardware that it's like instead of wasting all the time to do that, you just go grab an engine that is fairly well optimized, but just does everything and checks everything and makes sure that the rules apply. Like a great one's like Pixie Punk pointed out the one I forgot. It's the physics engine. Physics engines are really important. Physics engines like Unreal has a physics engine. It has a graphics engine. It has all kinds of same thing with Unity. Unity has a physics engine, has a graphics engine. And these sets of tools, like Ox was saying, they hold you and constrain you to rules that prevent you from being your own worst enemy. Like, for instance, in object-oriented programming, there's a concept called inheritance. And in inheritance, it's like if you're building a car, you would create an object that's the rim, and then you'd create a tire, and maybe the tube in the tire, and those would be parallel to the wheel. They'd be connected to it. And then the wheel would be connected to the axle would be connected to the suspension would be connected to the car. But you'd see this. If you looked at a graph of it, every object would have a hierarchy to the objects out at the end of its tree branches. With engines like Unreal and Unity, you have a similar set for gaming. Whereas normally, if you're just programming with a clean slate and you're like, hey, I got a compiler, I'm going to write C in assembly, you're God. You can do anything. You can make pixels show up anywhere in any order and do anything you want. You are absolutely the God of everything. But if you make a mistake, trying to find out where that mistake is and debug that mistake and fix that mistake could be arduous, like just a massive, massive undertaking. When you use an engine that's designed to maintain all those hierarchies, now you go and you say, oh, instead of simulating, writing my own physics for like jumping and, faking gravity and doing shaders and stuff like that to make 3D on a 2D plane, now you just go into the engine. You're like, I want to create an object and I want to put this 3D model into this object. And then all the code is written for you to take that 3D model and make it display in your world. You control the camera, right? And the viewport, but it maintains the rules. Like if it's a 35 millimeter camera, everything that's observed through that camera lens in the simulation will be 35 millimeter. Whereas if you program the game yourself, You could have half the screen be 35 millimeter. You could have a quarter of it be like something completely different. You could have the other one playing a completely different game that doesn't even make any sense. You could have the screen flip upside down and right side up. Do a whole bunch of shit that doesn't make any sense, right? You are God basically when you're just procedurally coding. But in object-oriented programming, you're held to rules. And then when you have something that's built on top object-oriented programming like Unreal or Unity, now you can kind of pick your poison at what level you want to come in, but you can't go like super low level, because if you start fighting with the engine, that can create problems too. A lot of people sometimes, the engine doesn't have the thing that I need, so I'm just going to create my own homebrew version and implement that. But now anything that changes in the engine later on can break your changes, and now you have to go back and like figure out how to redo it. So it's better to stay, when you commit to using an engine, it's better to stay in the engine as much as humanly possible for everything you're doing, because anything you try to do outside of the engine now can actually be way worse than if you never used an engine at all. So, but you're committed to that engine. So if that engine has performance issues, if you're implementing the thing in the engine incorrectly to where it's eating up a bunch of resources, because there still are things you do. It's not like these engines are designed to do 100% of the work for you, right? There are game engines where you can just drag and drop shit and say, oh, here's a character, here's some boxes. Like a great example would be Mario, what's that Mario level creator on the Switch? It's like Super Paper Mario? Is that
yeah, where you can make your own levels and stuff. I know
I forget which game it is, but yeah, my son does it all the time. He makes his own levels, and then as long as you can beat the level, you can publish it so other people can play it. But if you can't beat the level, they don't let you publish it, right? Because they don't want people just publishing a bunch of garbage. So, but you can make your own level because that engine allows you to place bricks, and all the physics are predetermined. You don't get to fuck with the physics, right? You have to be Mario. Mario does these specific things. All the mushrooms and power-ups and stuff, you're limited to using what it gives you. That's how that game engine works. It's a very high-level game engine, right? So that you can create something really, really rapidly, but you don't have that fine granular control. Engines like Unreal are more lower on the lower level side of things, but they also have higher level elements on them, and you could start as high or as low as you want. But the higher that you go to make it easier to create your game, you pay for it in resources, and you pay for it in other ways, like storage. If you're not going to optimize your textures and stuff like that, Unreal isn't going to do it for you, right? You're going to put in those huge textures, and if you had somebody take the time to optimize them, maybe it uses half the memory and your game performs like wildly better, but the user experience is exactly the same, right? But if you don't catch those things as a user, you don't understand how things work, and you're basically just vibe coding your way through gaming, you're not going to notice these things. And honestly, you're not going to care unless you hit performance issues, right? As long as it's running fine on your shit, you're just going to assume it's going to run fine on everybody else's shit, and that's not how it works at all, right? Especially when most dev platforms are like super OP. Oh, by the way, today is Super Mario's 40th anniversary. I didn't know that. I think I saw a post earlier. Who said, oh, yeah, right there. So Pod Lassie gave us $2.75 earlier, super chat.
Hey, thank you very much.
They said, because today is the 40th Super Mario anniversary. That's kind of funny. I just started talking about Mario, and then I realized it was the anniversary. That's really cool. I love Mario. Mario holds a special place in my heart. Also, Pele, I didn't see that. Oh my God, Pele. Hey. Pele get us $53.47, and he said, "Take the job." All right, I will. I will take the job. I will message my friend, and I will take the job, and we will go from there. Michael R. Media said, "I love Ox's truth bombs. Listen to the man." I'll tell you what, Ox.
That's when I was telling you to take the job.
Yeah, Ox is a good person to listen to. Ox is
sometimes
he's a wise man. I don't agree with everything all the time, but he is a wise man. He is also he has an interesting collection of knowledge, like uncommon knowledge that most people don't have. I've always found that interesting about it. Yeah, hit him with a trivia question sometimes. You'd be surprised. That's what he knows. Favorite.
I love that. I still think it should be like an actual segment we do, like the last 15 minutes or something.
I'm down. I'm 100% down.
Like, remember there was a show, Win Ben Stein's Money.
I remember that.
That's another dude who just knows all kinds of stuff. He just knows stuff. And like the final round of it was like a 1v1. It was like 10 questions. And like whoever you in this chamber and you'd try and answer the 10 questions, and then Ben Stein has the same 10 questions, and that'd be fun.
I do remember that. That was a good show.
It's weird because the thing is like I can't just roll through the stuff I know like a fucking Rolodex. You have to trigger it. Like, I don't know all of the stuff that I know, right? It's like, it's not until, like, you've asked me, oh, what do you know about blah, 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 and it's like, but there's no way that I would have just pulled that out on my own, that kind of stuff.
Sorry, I was typing something in the chat. So somebody said that you could fork the Unreal Engine.
I believe it.
And well, I'd imagine, you could, because they're literally just objects that you can import, with interfaces. So I'd imagine you can add on whatever you want, really. But here's the thing that I was trying to say earlier is when you fork, so fork just means you're taking a code base,
you're copying it
at a very specific point in time, and you're forking it off and making your own modifications to it to make it custom to you. Here's the problem when you do something like this. And this is a big problem. This happens to everybody on GitHub with every project that you fork. When you fork a project, if they make changes to the original project and you want to bring those changes into your project, you have to rectify all of the conflicts. So if you go off and modify the engine and add a bunch of shit to the engine to like make it more performant or fix certain things or add effects and stuff like that, that modifies the code of that engine, and now they go and optimize and change those things and add in new optimizations for new graphics cards, better ways to do things. Now when you go back and say, oh, I would like to take those changes from the Unreal branch or whatever and bring them into my code base, now you got a gajillion conflicts. And you have to go through and resolve those every single freaking time for every change you make. And this is something that plagued Microsoft. Microsoft had one of the most sophisticated branching systems I've ever seen in any development environment in my life. And it was literally like herding cats trying to get the changes to forward integrate and reverse integrate up and down through all the numerous different branches there were. There was a branch for UI. There was a branch for networking. There was a branch for this, for storage. There was a branch for DirectX. There was a branch for Explorer. There's a branch for literally everything that you could possibly think of. And then each of those branches had branches underneath them that would be specific pieces of those components. Like there was a Notepad branch for the Notepad application. And under that might have a branch for like the back end, the tools that they used for the Notepad. And then that one would be for the UI for the Notepad. And so all these are the different teams that are all tweaking their little bits. And then they all have to get their code to go up and resolve all the conflicts. And then once they all resolve the conflicts, then they take it back down to their branches so that they all are on the same page again so they can continue forward. But resolving those changes can be difficult because what'll happen is people will leave their area of expertise. They'll be like, oh, I might be the networking guy, but in order to get a networking thing to work, I had to go fix a UI thing. But they don't go to the UI branch, or the UI branch tells them to pound sand. So instead they change it in their branch. Now that goes up to the top, and now that conflicts with the change that was made by the network guy's UI, and they're not compatible with each other. So you have to pick one or the other. And then that's going to force either functionality to go away, or it could stay if they agree on keeping the latest change from the branch downstream. But usually that doesn't happen. Usually they'll be like, no, I told you no, we're not going to do that. Kick them out. And then their work is lost. When you're talking about games with huge graphics engines with thousands and thousands of classes and objects and code, and you're all willy-nilly going through there and changing shit to get your game to look a certain way or to give your game like a certain advantage. And I'm not even just talking like optimizations. I'm talking you're changing the core functionality of these components to give your game something that no other game would have because that engine doesn't provide it already, right? But every change you make to that base code and every change you make to make your vision possible now makes it harder to rectify that with changes on the official branch. And so that's why I tell people, it's like, if you go with an engine, you pretty much have to commit to it. And that means even if it's less efficient for you to do something through the engine than for you to do it yourself, that's the better path to take most of the time, because it ensures that later on, if you can get the engine people to fix their bug or to optimize their shit, then you can easily digest that moving forward. Whereas your changes, they're never going to take your changes. They're like, you're an outsider. You don't work for the company. We're not going to take your shit. So now you're stuck in this realm where it's like, yeah, I created a cool thing that does a cool thing. But now any new stuff that they add to their engine in that space, every time you try to import it into your project, it's like, nope, you can't, because it conflicts with all the changes that you made throughout the engine over time. And that can create a huge problem. So that's why I think a lot of these companies, when they use an engine, they pretty much commit to it fully, even if they don't know how to optimize it. They're not super familiar with it right out of the gate. They have to take some concessions. They know that there's going to be some problems. And they just crank logging up to 11, ship it, and know that they can just patch everything. If it ends up being a 0 day and everybody's game crashes on the first day, and it's like Cyberpunk, where it's like consoles are literally pulling the media off the shelves and taking it out of the stores, that's kind of a fucking extreme situation. But anything short of that, they know that they can just fix it with a patch. Just patch that shit, send out the patch. I've seen games before where it's like a patch is coming out like every day. There's a patch until like it's stable enough that people can actually play it. That's why I'll never buy a game usually on launch. Unless it's sometimes console games, because I do feel like console optimization is something that gets a lot more priority than PC optimization. Also, because, but plus the hardware matrix is so much smaller, right?
That's
like,
the thing.
Yeah, everybody has the same PlayStation for the most part.
Right.
You know, not everybody has the same PC, so it's a hell of a lot easier to fix it.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's see here. Kimby said, be sure to donate.
Be back.
Be sure to donate. Ox is running out of brain storage space and needs money to upgrade. Also, help me fund my gas. Oh, that was authentic gas right there. I'm running out of gas. I need more gas. Let's see. Jason said an auxiliary. Guess who got fiber internet in my area? This guy. Oh, Jason. Isn't that a life-changing thing? I have to say, when I got fiber, it was a nightmare getting it. Like, honestly, getting Ziply fiber to coordinate the people in the game, it was probably one of the most fucked up things I've ever had to go through. It's like 6 months of just people randomly showing up and thinking they can connect to my network, but they can't. Shit not being where it's supposed to be. Them saying I'm connected, but I'm not connected. Them connecting me, and then it's not working. It was just a nightmare. But once it was finally installed, stabilized, and ready to go, I have had almost no problems with it whatsoever. And it's symmetrical gig. It never slows down. It's badass. Fiber is amazing. I wish everybody had fiber. Let's see here. RPG Maker, MV, and MZ are just another high-level engine. Yeah, there's tons of game engines. As a matter of fact, I installed one the other day that I never heard of before. Let me see if I can find the launch icon. What was it called? Godot. So there's an engine called Godot engine, and it's kind of like Unity. It's kind of Unity-esque, but without all Unity's bullshit. And it looked pretty cool. And it's one of those things where it's like you could create a game in that, like, mostly just drag and dropping shit. And let's be honest, when you with how far AI has come, you can literally just point the AI at any website like Godot and say, go study all the documentation on Godot. And then it comes back, and now it knows the entire syntax and everything. So you can be like, oh, here, I want to create a game that's like Mario Brothers. And it'll tell you step by step. We literally did it on stream once a couple of weeks ago, where it was like telling us step by step, go in here, click on this, add this object, open up this file that pops up when you create that object, dump this code in there. Then go to this, dump this code in there. And it's like one by one just telling you. So if you don't know how to code, you don't even know what the code means or anything, you can just drop this shit into boxes and basically create like Mario Brothers or Tetris or Flappy Bird or, like, you know, the more simpler games. You can create with absolutely no programming knowledge at all. Zero. God, I gotta fart again. Oh, that's a good one. Hey guys, take lots of clips of these farts.
Yeah.
They're good to have. Oh, it actually doesn't smell too bad either. I think my CPAP clears me out. I have a theory that the CPAP it creates positive pressure in my airway and throughout my lungs, my stomach, my intestines. So I think it literally blows me out every night and just gets all the stank out of me. So it's like, until I eat a bunch of shitty food or whatever, it's like my farts be smelling clean in the morning. In the night, not so much.
All right.
Jason said AI made my life easier when I was setting up my NAS that runs on Ubuntu. I mean, you can do literally anything. Anything with AI. Shit, I was installing some Linux distribution I've never heard of called Cashy OS. And it uses like Pac-Man instead of apt-get or whatever it is. Like apt and Pac-Man, these are like different package managers for different architectures of Linux. And so I was lost. I was completely lost. And so, you go to AI and you're basically like, hey kid, I'm a computer, stop all the download. No, you go in there, you're like, I want to do this. And it comes back and it's like, oh yeah, just copy this and just paste it in there, hit enter, and boom, you're done. This will do it. Oh, that didn't work? Oh, you got an error? Okay, just copy the error and put it in here. Oh, okay, here's what you need to fix that error. Okay, now the error is fixed and it works. I mean, I was doing shit in Linux that was way more complex than it ever should have been. Like installing Sunshine and Moonlight, which are the client and host for like remoting on a Linux distribution, but it wasn't compatible with like this 3D rendering engine that's used in this specific distribution of Linux. I forget what it's called. It's like Wendell or Windsor or some shit like that. I forget, something like that. So I had to fall back to like an old rendering engine called X11. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck all this stuff means, right? But I'm just in the AI and I'm like, hey, listen, I want to remote into this machine and I want to be able to play games in Steam over remote desktop with minimal lag at 4K at 60 frames per second or 1080p 120 frames per second. And it's like, here's what you do. And, half an hour later and, 25 cut and pastes, and you've got all the right packages installed. You've reconfigured the operating system. You've changed the entire desktop manager. You've changed the entire rendering engine. You've installed the Nvidia drivers. You installed the Nvidia SDK. You installed all the dependencies that you needed. And now, boom, you're rebooting. You got auto login working now. You can fucking remote in the machine without having to pull it up and log it in first like I was doing before. I was like, you know what? Linux could be a day. Keegan asked if Linux is a daily driver. Not for me. Never. I shouldn't. I'm never going to say never. But I will tell you right now, there is a reason why Windows is still the #1 desktop operating system, followed by Mac OS X. And I'll tell you, it's because Linux makes everything really, really difficult. It really does. And every distribution is different. But here's the trade-off. Here's the trade-off that you get.
Getting better.
You can do anything. You can do it. You can do anything. Like, you fucking change out that. You don't have to have, like, in Windows, you can change out Explorer exe, right? If you really want to. If you're that's considered super hardcore.
No.
In Linux, you don't have to just change out Explorer exe. You can change out the entire fucking rendering engine. There's like an entire underlying graphics rendering engine, and then on top of that is the operating system shell. And they're two components that you can change out and mismatch any which way you want to create any experience you could possibly dream of. And
I think the average end user, if it were just a simpler install, or if they were just given a Linux, like say laptop, or given a machine that had there are certain distros that are super simple and they look just like Windows, and they wouldn't be able to tell the difference if everything that they did just worked. Like, most people, email, internet, that kind of stuff. The real hang up with the adoption of Linux is gaming, really, and that's getting better and better too. So
I have to admit, most of the games in Steam did show up and they did work. So I was pretty surprised.
The vast majority of end users wouldn't notice a difference, and in fact, a lot of them would probably adopt it as easy as Mac OS, where you install a program by just dragging the little thing over into the applications folder, bong, and that's it, because it's all packaged in one little thing. And it just comes down to experience. Most people they use Windows the most, and so trying to change is weird and difficult.
Yeah, I feel like under Linux, my biggest gripe, and this is for Catchy OS. There's a million different distributions, so they're all going to be different. But with Catchy OS, it has a UI that is most like Windows 11. Literally right out of the box, even the install process was really simple, mostly straightforward. I won't say it's as easy as Windows, but pretty close. And once it's installed, the way you log in, the way you interact, the start button, the way you find your settings page, right click on the desktop, go to display settings, your task tray with all your task tray icons doing things with notifications and shit, it all feels very Windows. So like you said, if it was an average user and they were just this was on their laptop or their desktop computer and they were mostly just doing internet shit, right? And they had their programs installed, they'd be fine. There'd really be no difference in their experience between Windows and Linux. But here's the interesting thing that I found is no matter what combination of shit I installed, I don't know if this is just Catchy OS, but this seems to be something I've had a problem with every distribution I've tried so far, is the UI is not as smooth. It's kind of like when you compare Android to iOS back in the day. Now they're both liquid smooth with no lag and everything's fine. But back in the day, Android lagged when you did your thumb swiping up and down, and the frame rate was kind of low in certain things, like when it was rendering the windows and the icons and stuff like that. If Linux feels very much like that, even with all the Nvidia acceleration stuff installed, Nvidia SMI reporting that everything was working properly, using the hardware accelerated graphics engine, latest hardware accelerated graphics engine, everything, still just opening apps, scrolling them around the screen, scrolling the windows up and down, at 4K 120 frames per second, natively on the monitor, not even remote, natively on the monitor. It just felt like it was laggy to me. It doesn't have that same smoothness that Windows does or Mac OS X does. It feels like Linux just doesn't. And I don't know if that's an architectural thing that prevents it from being that way, because if you open a game, the game runs perfectly smooth. The game looks great and the frame rate's super high. I just don't think that they put in I don't know if it's an optimization thing, or maybe they don't want to use too many resources for the UI or whatever the deal is, but I feel like the UI is still way too dependent on the CPU or something. It just does not feel smooth. It does not feel smooth to me. And I've seen videos on YouTube. I know it is possible because I've seen videos on YouTube of people running Linux where they have all kinds of crazy graphical shit. And they've got like the widgets baked into the desktop report and stuff, and everything's scrolling like super glass smooth. So I know there is a way to get there, but I've yet to find a distro where you just install it and it's smooth like that right out of the box without like a shitload of tweaking. Use Wayland, not X11, much smoother. I was using Wayland. That was the word I was trying to remember earlier. I called it Wendell, but no, I was using Wayland, and Wayland is smoother than X11 by quite a bit, but it's still nowhere near as smooth as Windows 11. Like not even close. Like you open up the browser and you scroll the bar up and down, and it's like in 120 frames per second in 4K in Windows, perfectly glass smooth, and even window or full screen. Do the same thing with Wayland, and it's like it's just doesn't feel smooth. It feels like janky. I don't know. It just side by side. I've yet to see a Linux distribution's UI, like in the operating system, moving windows around, docking windows, the animations, and everything. I haven't seen it be as smooth as Windows. I just haven't seen it. Would it matter what distro you use for Linux, the lag issue thing? Oh yeah, 100%. Like there's a million combinations of like the underlying graphics engine or whatever, like X11 or Wayland, and like whether in your desktop manager, which is like GNOME or KDE or whatever the hell the one catchy OS uses that looks like Windows 11. I've heard that. Gaming Maddie Rock said AMD is way better on Linux. I've heard that. I do feel like the like Nvidia's implementation on Linux is not nearly as good as AMD. Like even on my laptop, my laptop's AMD and it's got a lot better options.
There are official Nvidia drivers for Linux. I think they're like,
not? Let me see here.
I don't think so.
Because I installed.
I think there's like open source solutions and stuff to it, but I don't think Nvidia.
Let me see, because I'm pretty sure I downloaded and installed drivers. So here, let me see if there are. So let me go. So if I go to GeForce, I'm gonna do GeForce. I'm gonna do the latest GPU too. So 50 series. Let's do 50 series. I'm on the driver download page, and yeah, Arch Linux. It's got Linux 64-bit, Linux Arch 64, FreeBSD x64, Windows 11, and Windows 10.
Oh snap! Okay.
So yeah, they do actually, and they have it for Arch and 64-bit, which is the one, and that also gets confusing in Linux because you're like, there's Arch based, and then there's the others. I don't know what they call the other one.
The others.
So there's Arch and the others, and so whenever you go to install like modules or download things and everything, it's like, which one do you download? You're like, oh, okay, which package do I download? No, that's institutional knowledge that you'll get over time. You're immediately going to know which one to click on. But it's confusing when there's like two different flavors of Linux. And then when you download a package to load it, depending on which window manager you're running, when you double click on the thing, it'll either just open it as an archive and you're like, what the fuck do I do with this? Or you click on it and it actually says it's going to install it. Or you click on it, it takes you to like some kind of packet installer that then goes and finds it and like downloads it again and installs it. And it's just, I don't know. It does not feel like a really well thought out process. I don't know. And plus I couldn't even install Chrome on Catchy OS. I go into the module installer thing right now. Granted, I can go download Chrome and I could install it through the prompt. I could drop into the prompt and install it through there. But I'm like, I just want to install Chrome. So I go into the store, the Catchy store, because every distro has like its own store of shit. And I go in there and I search and there's no Chrome. There's only Firefox. I'm like, I know Chrome. Can't Chrome run on Linux? I'm pretty sure it can. I almost swear that I had a Linux VM that was running Chrome. So I'm like, but I can't download Chrome. I can only download Firefox and like these three other browsers that I've never heard of. I'm like, why isn't Chrome in the store? But I can go to Google and download the Linux distro of Chrome as a tarball. But then I decompress the tarball. What do I do now? Oh, now I got to drop out the bash and I have to run some command that builds it and installs it. How do I install it through the UI? If I double click it, it just opens the archive. There's no installer or setup thing, or there's no clear thing. I just click on it and installs it. I'm like, that's the kind of confusing shit that bugs me about Linux. Is it just feels like to me like there's a million different ways to do everything, but because there's a million different ways to do everything, there's no one clear way that's like really thought out and really well done that just covers everything. You might have to install Chrome's repository to the GUI store. Yeah, I think that was it, Keegan. I think, yeah, that's probably what I had to do because it wasn't showing up. But again, like having to manage all these different repositories and everything like that, that's not very intuitive for people. You know what I mean? It's like on Linux or on Windows, if you want to install Chrome, you just go to the website, you click a thing, you have an exe, you run the exe, it installs the thing, and now you got Chrome. You know, in Linux, you can't do that. You can't even say just run this when you download it. Like you download it, you go into the folder, and it's always like a tar GZ, which like I think tar is like the compression and GZ is like the packager or something. It's like they separate them for some reason, whereas zip and rar and all those are all in one, but they do it in 2 different layers for Linux archives. I never understood why they still do that today, why they haven't transitioned to a more common like zip system. But anyways, they got these tar GZs. You decompress them, and now you got a folder full of shit. Now you have to do chmod to like give execution permissions. Where in Windows, if it's an exe, it just runs as an exe. But in Linux, you're like, oh nope, I have to tell it that this, because it doesn't have an extension, right? I have to tell it that this file is an executable file using chmod or whatever. So then you give it like the execution rights, then you run it, and if it doesn't need administrative privileges, then it runs and it does the install and everything. But it's like you still have to spend a lot of time in the prompt to do all this shit. Did I try to use sudo apt install in terminal thing to install Chrome? No, because this has Pacman, not apt. Again, you know, two different flavors of Linux, right? However, I do want to try a different one because CatchyOS I used because it's because its UI out of the box is so close to Windows 11, but it has a lot of downsides. Like it is massively incompatible with a lot of other stuff. Like there's a lot of extra steps I've had to do that apparently if you're running like something like Debian or something like that, you don't have to take all those extra steps. Especially when it came to getting the window manager to run as something that I could connect to remotely, because Wayland isn't compatible with a lot of the remote desktop shit. So I'd always have to, but trying to get CatchyOS to use X11 instead of Wayland, I mean, I must have had to edit like 13 different files because there's 13 different ways to do it, and 12 of the 13 didn't work, and then the 13th finally worked, so that was the one that did it. And then the other thing I really hate about Linux is because there's so many, you got edit this file, and there's 5,000 ways to do everything. If you don't meticulously document like what you're doing and what changes you made, good fucking luck going back and trying to debug this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure somebody who's a professional with Linux, they're gonna have institutional knowledge, know what logs to look at, what tools to run to like debug the shit and everything, and like find out where the problem is. But for me, it's like, okay, now I have 13 files that are all doing something different to try to launch this X11 thing. Now it finally works. But what if later I want to switch it back? Now I have to remember what the 13th thing was I edited, because there's 12 that I edited that didn't work that are all in files that on different distributions would have worked. Like each one would have worked on a different distribution differently. So I'm like, which one do I undo? Do I just go back and undo every single possible one? Do I keep a record of every single change I make systematically? I don't know. It just, to me, I feel like that's the turnoff with Linux, is that just everything feels like there's more steps. Like on Windows, everything is fairly direct. You know, it's like, and again, I've used Windows for so long that I will argue that yes, because I'm so familiar with Windows, if you're somebody that's equally familiar with Linux, it probably feels very much the same, where you come to Windows and you're like, this is stupid. I don't know what to do. You're like, oh, why don't I have to chmod this file? Oh, whoa, I can just run an exe? That's weird. I could see, depending on which one you grew up with or which one you spent most time in, you're obviously that's going to be the easier one for you to use. But just looking at them and trying to look at them like objectively through the lens of like, which one is just a smoother experience where you just install it, it does what you want, it does all the shit that you need. Windows just seems like it's the more polished turd. However, Linux, you can do anything. Like if you want to write your own desktop from scratch, your own graphics engine for like rendering the desktop, like all that shit, it's basically Linux is like DOS. You build on top of it. It's not like Windows where you're building shit to run on top of Windows. It's like you're running on top of the lowest level of the kernel. So you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you have the skill, you have the talent, and there's so much open source software out there in the community too, that chances are if you want to do something, somebody's already done it. And I'll even argue that Linux has capabilities that Windows doesn't at all. Like there's a lot of projects, especially AI projects, that I've run across on GitHub where it's like they only want to run under Linux. Like you either use a VM, hardware running Linux, or use a Docker container running Linux, because the dependencies that you're taking under Python, for instance, those dependencies only work under Linux, or they're only hardware accelerated under Linux. And I know that that's like a decision.
Lot. Yeah. A lot of the scientific computing and stuff is done through Linux. 100%. I think that has more to do with you're able to get more direct access to the hardware. There's less stuff in the way.
Yep.
Windows takes up a lot of nonsense.
I do agree with that. I do agree that Linux is definitely more I don't want to say optimized, but I will say that it's better on memory and resources. Like when you boot Linux up and you're sitting in the Linux UI and you open up like the equivalent, I couldn't even find the equivalent of the task manager. I had to download a task manager because again, it's one of those things where there's a million of them, right? There isn't the one that just built into the operating system. Everything's a module. It feels very modular.
Yeah.
And so I'd imagine if over time you establish like, you know, what things are optimized and then some shit doesn't work. Like you go to install and it's like, oh, this isn't compatible with Wayland. Oh, this doesn't run because you have X11. Oh, this doesn't run because there's so many different things and so many different dependencies that each project takes a dependency on that specific stuff so it doesn't work with anything else. Or you might get lucky and it might be a project where it's like they coded it so it works with everything, but it doesn't work the same with everything. It's like each one's a slightly different code path that does different things or things look different. And you kind of understand why that is because if you ever look at like GNOME versus KDE, they're completely different. Like GNOME is like, what the fuck is this? It's like a blank desktop with nothing on it. And then you have to like drag your mouse up into the corner of the screen, which then like minimizes it down in the center of the screen like a virtual desktop where you can flip through your pages. And then you get a bar down at the bottom that looks like a generic ass like Apple-esque app bar. And then you click on the app and then it opens under the window that you have. And then you have to like pull your mouse away and then it like full screens again. It just feels so foreign to somebody that's used Windows, right? Whereas like KDE is more Windows-esque and you can theme the shit out of all this stuff. Like there's infinite theming. So if you want to put the start button over here in the center of the screen, up in the corner, make it this big, put graphics on it, sky's the limit. You do whatever the fuck you want. But that also comes at a price of performance, I think. It might be good on memory, but I think it takes more performance because there's so many different paths that can be taken that there has to be so much code in there to say, oh, if it's this hardware, if it's this screen, if it's this thing, or if it's this thing, or if it's this thing, if this, case switch, if this, to make it compatible with the vast majority of people that are going to run it. And then because you have to maintain that massively huge code path and eat up all the extra cycles that that's going to take to make it more compatible, you just don't get as smooth of an experience. That's at least how I feel. But I would like to sit down with somebody one of these days. I'd like to physically sit down with somebody who has like Wendell, for instance, who has like a super optimized Linux workstation, purpose-built computer with hardware that has like the latest and greatest like AMD graphics hardware. The drivers on Linux are the same as the drivers for Windows, like literally same generation of driver. You're not having to run a driver that's like, 3 months behind. I'd love to see what that experience looks like. Like I'd love to sit down, play on the keyboard, play on the mouse, everything, see how smooth that UI is, how available everything's, ask them questions like, how do you open a task manager? How do you kill a process in the UI without having to drop it out to the prompt? How do you do all these complex things without having to use a prompt in the UI? How do you do that? And having them just be like, yeah, boom, 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 boom. Here's how easy it is. It's like, I can do it just as fast on here, if not faster than you can on Windows. If I saw that experience, then I'd be more open to being like, okay, I want to replicate that. I want to go and build a system with this specific hardware to pull that off. But the thing with Windows is you don't have to have that specific hardware. It's like Windows is so heavily supported because Microsoft does literally loan people out to the companies. Like Nvidia literally gets Microsoft employees. AMD gets Microsoft employees that Microsoft pays to go to their companies, help them optimize their drivers, optimize their DirectX, optimize all their shit to work best in Windows than anything else. Linux doesn't get that same treatment. Linux, the community just has to figure it out. And that's why it falls behind a lot of the time, especially with stuff like Nvidia, right? Nvidia is like, all we care about is the scientific shit. So we're gonna do the Python stuff, like PyTorch and stuff like that. So they don't have to do it. Nvidia doesn't have to fuck with it. It's like the PyTorch guys are doing it. It's like, and then PyTorch is like, oh, it supports Nvidia, and it also supports ROCm, but it only supports ROCm on a slightly older version. And ROCm is like AMD's version of CUDA. So AMD has their own open source version of CUDA, because of course they do. Mm-hmm. And it's called ROCm. And but if you go look at like PyTorch, ROCm is like way behind NVIDIA for like the version of Python, the version of the library, the capabilities. It lags behind. At least it did last time I looked at it, because I only have one computer with AMD hardware, and it's my Framework laptop. And I will say the Framework laptop, surprisingly, Linux runs great on it. Because when I first got the laptop, I installed Linux on it just to fart around, because that was Framework's whole shtick, right? Is it's like, oh, here's a custom laptop you can piece together. You install Linux on it. It's like all the components in it were selected and built to be heavily compatible with Linux. But again, it just, the UI did not feel as smooth as Windows to me. I don't know. Am I smoking crack? Is there anybody in here that runs Linux as like their daily driver on their computer who also has a Windows PC that can say that their Linux graphics experience, not just in games, but like scrolling around the AI, moving Windows, snapping Windows, everything, scrolling especially, like is the scrolling really smooth? Like, do you feel like your Linux experience is better, like is smoother? John Hess said you can also do super minimal desktop setups. I'm using a tiling window manager with no taskbar or start menu. The display is just the windows I'm using, and everything is controlled with keybinds. Wow. Yeah, I know you probably do something like that with GNOME, because I know there was a setting. I went into GNOME settings, which were like vast, and GNOME actually had a setting that disabled the thing where you could see the taskbar. Like you could just have it do a window, and you could use a hotkey to switch between the virtual desktops and then another key to open a shell. And then you open the shell, you run the thing in the shell, and then it, just like in Windows, if you run a graphical app in Linux from the shell, and that graphical app is compatible with Wayland and whatever window manager you're using or whatever, it will pop up and in the graphical window. Like even though you executed it from the prompt, which is very similar to Windows, right? If you run Notepad in a command prompt, it opens up a GUI. Same thing happens in Linux. James said, does Android count? Because Android is a version of Linux. I think Android forked from Linux. Well, actually, no. Is Android a version of Linux? Because I want to say Android is kind of like
I don't know about that.
Because I thought it was its own thing. I'm curious. Is it derived from Linux or FreeBSD? Let me see here. No, I'll be damned. Yeah, at the heart of Android is a modified version of the Linux kernel. Handles low-level system operations like memory management, process scheduling, and hardware drivers. And actually, you technically can run Android as a desktop operating system. I've seen people do it before. It is possible.
Oh, yeah.
You do it on a tablet. You can do it on a PC. You can do it on an ARM device. But again, you know, Android, I don't think is really designed to be used that way. It can. I know that you can... what's it called? You've probably used it before on your phone, where you can take your phone, plug it into a TV with HDMI, connect the keyboard and mouse over Bluetooth, and it basically gives you like an actual desktop operating system with like windows you can move around and everything.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Samsung calls it Dex.
That's what it is, Dex. Samsung Dex. Yeah. And I'm sure that there's other versions of something similar for like vanilla Linux and like Google Pixel and shit like that. But I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool that you actually have a desktop operating system. Like you take your phone, plug an HDMI cable from the USB-C to the TV, and connect your keyboard and mouse over Bluetooth, sit back on your, you know, in your hotel room, and now you've got a full-blown, you know, like shell that you can open windows, snap windows, run apps, run games, everything. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah. I mean, Chrome OS, basically.
Yeah, because, I mean, you could literally, if you were a software developer, you don't even have to bring a laptop. You could just take your phone, go into your hotel room, plug it into your TV in your hotel room, pull out your little keyboard and mouse, your wireless keyboard and mouse, and you now have, like, you can build Linux binaries, you can run Python. You might have to run, like, something like, I don't know, like Pythonista. I don't know, can you run full-blown Python on Android?
I don't know about that.
I wonder if you can, because I know you can on iOS. On iOS, you have to run a bastardized version that's kind of like semi-emulated that's called Pythonista. By the way, if you guys have iOS and you're into Python development, if you do not have Pythonista, that is a must-have. I think it's like $9. Well worth every penny. You can literally, and you can vibe code. Even if you don't know how to code Python, vibe coding in Python is one of the easier languages to vibe code in. And a lot of because Python is so, like, just so proliferated throughout the open source community, that means AIs are also heavily trained on it. And so if you want to write Python apps, even on your, you can run straight up Python scripts that create GUIs on iOS. So like I had an iOS thing that was like, literally I could run my Python script and it would open up a full UI with like a picture of the Earth, and it was animating like the ISS going around the Earth using its GPS coordinates. It was downloading live from a server. It was using like graphical libraries and shit to like cast shadows and do like 3D rendering effects and stuff. This was all just straight up Python running on my iPhone. And I thought that was like one of the coolest things I've seen. Bradley Smith said, Google has confirmed it's merging Android and Chrome OS into a single platform to create a cohesive operating system for phones, laptop, Android. That's actually a good move. I honestly think that's a really good move. That would be very similar to what Microsoft did too. Because if you remember, Microsoft merged before they killed their phone project, which again, Microsoft really fucked up. I think that if they had stayed in the race, they would be one of the key contenders today.
Oh yeah, man! Could you imagine? They could have tied in with because they did what the Asus put out that ROG phone once.
Yep.
I think that was doing the Windows Phone OS, and now with the way Xbox is basically in everything, dude, they could have they'd basically have a Steam Deck, but it'd be you could play all your fucking Xbox games. You'd be streaming them basically, but. Yeah, man, that would be awesome. It'd be like the number one gaming phone. Yeah. It would have been cool.
So check this out. We created a game on iOS called me and a friend with a company we founded called Opulent Studios many moons ago. We created a game called Angry Sharks to try to cash in on the whole Angry Birds thing, right? And so Angry Sharks, you're like this shark and you use the accelerometer and the phone to like rocket around, and you basically command a swimmer who's trying to avoid like a whirlpool and sharks are coming out of it and shit trying to eat them. And so we created that game and we ported it to Windows Phone because Microsoft said the only way that we could publish it on iOS is if we also publish it on Windows Phone, because we'd be in violation of our NDA or something if we produce something for a rival platform without producing it for Windows first. So we're like, whatever, we'll do it. We probably should have just asked forgiveness instead of permission, but whatever, we'll do it. So we ported it, and the cool thing is we ported it using something called XAML. It was like the XAML game development thing, and it was completely cross-platform. Like our game, you programmed it once, and it would work on Xbox, it would work on Windows Phone, and it would run on Windows 8 at the time. I think it was Windows 8 or Windows 8.1. And I thought that was the coolest shit ever. I was like, dude, if you want to win a race and win developers over, create a platform where they only have to create the game once and it just magically works across all three. And it would even bind the buttons and stuff. Like for instance, when you ported it to the Xbox, you no longer had accelerometer, right? You didn't have the accelerometer in the controllers. So you're like, how do you play Angry Sharks? It literally told us in the Visual Studio environment we were creating that, accelerometer isn't available on Xbox. Here's where you implement the game controls, and we just map the controller to the accelerometer. So we're like, now this button moves this way, 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 like the D-pad or whatever, or the analog stick. All we did was map that, and it automatically knew what to do. Everything was like if-defs, like if you're on Xbox, if you're on PC, if you're on phone, and you use those where there was disconnects between the three, like screen resolution, for instance, CPU power. Like if you wanted to take more advantage of graphics on a PC versus on a phone, you could create these separate paths where you're like, if you're on a PC, you can run this extra bit of code. If you're not on a PC, don't run it. And then it would just compile a binary for each platform, and you could put it on each platform and run it. And then you just publish one thing to the store. And if you're on Windows, you download it for the Windows version. If you're on Xbox, you download the Xbox version. If you're on the phone, but it made development so much easier. So much easier. Then Microsoft's like, fuck it. We're not getting very much market share. We're super impatient. Let's just cancel the whole project. It's like, God damn it. And what are they doing today? Now they're still selling tablets, right? They're selling the incredibly overpriced Microsoft Surface X Pro or whatever ARM tablet PC thing. And it's like, so they still have a tablet. So they're still running a semi-mobile-esque like interface. Like I know it's Windows 11, but they've done a lot of shit to it to make it more touch friendly. That was a big thing. Windows 10 and Windows 11 had to be super touch friendly. If you remember Windows 8, they had that stupid fucking start menu that everybody hated.
Windows 8 tried too hard. They thought everything was going to go tablets, and that was so dumb.
Dude, we were so pissed. We were so pissed. We're in a giant meeting at Microsoft. Imagine we're the entire Windows like development department, 3,000 people strong, sitting in a conference room. And one of the biggest conference rooms at the convention center there on the campus in Redmond. And it was who the fuck was it? Was it Snofsky or whatever? Anyways, one of the executives gets up there and he's like, Windows 8.1 with its Metro interface. He's like, we're gonna get rid of the mouse. Mouses are gonna be a thing of the past, and keyboards. People are just gonna type on their screens. And I swear to God, we were telling him, like, do you really think people are going to sit there on their desktop with their all-in-ones? Because they were saying people are going to use touch on all-in-ones, because why would you want to use a mouse when you can just touch everything intuitively on the screen? I'm like, could you imagine holding your arm out like this for fucking 6 hours a day, just doing this and dragging and pulling and going like this, like all fucking Minority Report? It doesn't work. It doesn't even really work on a laptop. Yes, is it good for a tablet that's sitting in your lap where you're resting and just doodling with your fingers? Yes, but that doesn't work on a 30-inch or 24-inch desktop screen. And they fought and fought and fought. They weren't even going to keep the start menu at all. It was Metro or bust. And it was always going to boot into Metro, not the desktop. It would only go to the desktop when it needed to run a legacy application. Everything was just going to be full screen or locked in side by side or quadrants or whatever. And I was like, fuck, this is so stupid. Nobody liked it. I didn't know anybody that liked it other than this one executive. They just had a boner for it. And sure shit, they shipped it, and the public spoke. The public was like, this is fucking hot garbage, take it out. And then Windows 8.1, it was gone.
Yep.
Oh, God. That was actually one of the most frustrating things of my entire Microsoft career, was having to debug and run and self-host Windows 8 with that fucking Metro interface for like literally like years. Yeah, that project we threw away. that was probably 2 years of wasted time trying to create like this managed Metro user interface that used XAML and used .NET Core and all this shit basically. And so you couldn't even like code regularly. Like even they were trying to even get rid of Windows 32 apps. They're like, oh, no more Win32, no more Win32 API. Let's just throw everything out and force every developer on earth to like retool their code to run using this like XAML-esque fucking UI thing that was adopted from basically the phone. And it did not work, obviously. Not a lot of people were like jumping and rearing up to like create these new apps that fucking turned your desktop computer into a cell phone or a tablet PC. And so thankfully the entire body of Microsoft rebelled. Like all the developers, all the teams and everything just had enough with it. And they started just bitching and people were leaking shit externally that they weren't supposed to leak externally just to force public discourse to shut them down before it was too late. Good. And then finally they got the fucking message and they're like, oh, we're going to add the Metro interface as optional. Like it'll be an optional thing you can enable if you're on tablet or something.
Nobody liked it.
Nobody liked it. They just took it out completely. It's gone. It's nowhere to be seen anywhere anymore. Let's see here. What did we did the Borderlands thing. We did, oh yeah, the Intel Glass.
Yeah.
Intel Glass. Weird. Yeah, this is one that that Ox pulled up. Let me see here if I can find the tab. Do I still have it? Nope. Here, let me go pull it out of the messages. So apparently Intel. Do you want to cover this one?
A little bit.
Go for it.
I don't know. I just saw this interesting headline, and so I'm still not really sure. I guess they're gonna make chips using glass instead of silicon. I guess, or is that's what they're trying to see if they can figure it out.
Yeah, they want to get away from silicon. They're like silicon's old school.
The terms that they're using in this, I need to dig into this a little bit more because I'm not seeing the connection here. So right at the beginning of this, it says, for those unaware, glass substrates are used in packaging solutions to replace organic materials. And I'm like, well, what? They're using like plant fibers or something? Like what is it? This is where I need to dig a little bit more into it. Packaging solutions. So we're not talking like boxes and fucking packing peanuts and stuff. But so it's like packaging of like chiplets and that kind of a deal. And is kind of what I've put together a little bit. But yeah, I guess there's been some rumor that they were going to abandon the idea because, you know, things are getting a little shaky at Intel. I think they've got their third CEO in the last 5 years or something. And there's I don't know, just talk a lot about like what the fuck is Intel up to?
I looked it up. Okay. So yeah, they're not replacing the silicon. The silicon still stays. But they're changing the substrate that supports and connects the silicon chip. So there's something else going on the chip. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on the chip that's organic.
Yeah, this is where I'm like, I need to dig a little deeper into what okay, so what do they use as a substrate now? Right? What is this organic material? Because like I didn't so let's see. So organic components. Carbon? Yeah. Okay, so the substrate is the foundational layer that sits beneath the silicon die, the actual processor itself. It's like the motherboard for the chip, providing mechanical support and electrical connections between the silicon and the rest of the system. It says it routes signals between the chip and the packaging pins, distributes power and ground, helps the heat dissipation, and acts as a platform for mounting multiple chiplets in advanced designs. It says organic substrates are usually made, epoxy resins reinforced with glass fiber. So these are they consider that an organic substrate. Is that because the epoxy contains something organic? I guess, yeah.
Oh, I see what it says. No, it says when we say organic, we're not talking about living matter. We mean carbon-based materials.
Oh, okay.
You know, we're carbon-based life. That's what Michael Mack is saying. They're going to be, they want to replace the carbon with glass. So that's what it is. So that's
interesting. Which I guess that makes sense because they're saying like it's stronger, has better, where is it? It's stronger, better density. They can make it thinner.
It said to make the packaging a lot smaller.
Thermal stuff's better, that kind of thing. So it sounds kind of cool. Which man, they got to do something. Frankly, Intel, man, AMD is kicking their pants on the CPU side of things, like really bad. So they gotta figure out something. But they're saying like they wouldn't be able to mass produce this until like 2030 if it even works out. Like they're still in the like research and development. Like we don't even know if this is gonna work.
Yeah, they're just basically saying they're not abandoning it, because I guess everybody thought they abandoned it because they haven't been talking about it lately. But they're like, no, it's still in the plans,
which is
still
weird.
Part of their thing.
They talked about it only just a couple years ago. You know, they're like, we're gonna start looking into this in like 2023. So it's like, what is there to say? What we're supposed to put out a fucking statement every year or something? Like,
whatever happened to the carbon nanotubes thing? Because I know carbon nanotubes can be produced a lot better today than they could even 5 years ago.
I think it's a matter of like using them, like how, like you can make them, sure, but how do you use them? How do you get them into something that you can do something with, you know?
Yeah, because I know they said that was going to, like, because carbon nanotubes are like super conductive or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they said that like the CPUs of the future are all going to be carbon nanotubes, but the reason is because the carbon nanotubes are so expensive to produce. That was the blocking thing, but now they're not. I thought that they figured out a method now that creates them like really cheap. Like they literally put them in concrete. They must not be that expensive. They're literally dumping cups full of nanotubes into fucking concrete to make it stronger. It says, okay, so carbon nanotubes can carry more current and switch faster than silicon transistors. They have lower power consumption, smaller size, and better thermal properties. But why aren't they not being used in CPUs yet? Okay, so CNTs, or carbon nanotubes, must be perfectly aligned and uniformly spaced to build a reliable transistor. Current fabrication techniques struggle to control placement at the scale needed for billions of transistors. All right, well, there's our answer. So now they can create the carbon nanotubes. They just can't get them to align on that microscopic level to get them to compete with. Because that's the thing is you etch the silicon, right? You etch it using ultralithography to create the transistors by reshaping the material to create the circuits at a microscopic level. I don't think you can do that with carbon nanotubes. Like with carbon nanotubes, you'd have to actually build the structures at that size. And it's like, how do you do that? Right? Because how the fuck are you going to burn a carbon nanotube? Like it's carbon. Like if you burn carbon, what does it do? It just gets fucking red hot, right? It either vaporizes or stays carbon. I don't know. Can you use lithography on carbon? Huh.
I suppose I don't know.
Lithography on carbon nanotubes. Here we are doing the AI thing again. You could use extreme ultraviolet lithography in carbon nanotube fabrication process, but it's not ideal, and here's why. So it says EUV lithography uses 13.5 nanometer wavelength light to etch ultrafine patterns on the silicon wafers. That's not entirely true anymore, because now I think they got it down to what, 4 nanometer or 2 nanometer. It's fucking insane how small they can get that little laser. I don't even know if they consider it a laser. Is it considered a laser? Because I know they generate the ultra UV light by like literally like shooting a tin, like a droplet of tin or something. They vaporize a droplet of tin with a laser. That creates the light, and then the light from the emission of that tin vaporizing is the wavelength that's used to etch. So I guess you use the laser to turn the tin into the light, but then once you turn the light from the tin, that's the thing I don't understand, is from there I don't think it's considered a laser anymore. Let's hear. It's the cutting edge method for making transistors smaller than 5 nanometers used by companies like TSMC and Intel. So why UV isn't perfect? Okay, so CNTs are typically synthesized via chemical vapor deposition. I heard that's the cheapest way to do it, where carbon atoms themselves self-assemble into tubes. You don't draw them with light. You guide their growth and placement. Oh, wow. Okay. So you don't use the ultralithography to etch it. You literally grow them in the shapes that you want them.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
So you have to control that growth process, and that's not realistic right now. Wow. Okay. And it says, okay, patterning challenges. It says you can technically use lithography to define regions where CNTs should go, like creating trenches or catalyst sites, but EUV is overkill for this. Electron beam lithography or nano imprint lithography are more commonly used with CNT research because they offer better control at small scales. What do you mean better control at small scales? How much better control do you get than etching like small features at 2 nanometer?
Right.
Jesus Christ. CNTs are delicate. The high energy photons in EUV could damage them or interfere with their electrical properties. And this is another reason. So I wonder, has anybody ever done this? Has anyone ever built a functioning carbon or CNT chip? Yes, researchers have successfully built functioning carbon nanotube chips though they're still in the experimental phase and not commercially available. So MIT created a 16-bit CNT microprocessor in 2019. Wow, okay, so fairly recent. A fully functional 16-bit microprocessor with 14,000 CNT transistors. It says it was the first demonstration of general-purpose CPU built entirely from carbon nanotube transistors. But again, 14,000 ain't shit. Like, I think the number of transistors on a modern CPU are in the trillions or something, right?
It's insane.
Yeah. So MIT developed a method called rinse to remove metallic CNTs and align semiconducting ones, solving one of the biggest purity problems. And then Stanford created their first circuit in 2013, so even older. And IBM is doing transistor research right now using carbon nanotubes. So it looks like they're all trying to get carbon nanotubes to work, but right now it's just not realistic. The best processor they can create right now is something that would just get stomped by like something from the 80s. So that's not really going to help. Hey, DeWolfsden, thank you for the $5, man. He said, I slept through some of it. We'll catch up with what I missed, but wanted to say hello, friends and brother in pain. Aw, thank you, DeWolfsden. I appreciate you, man. So, yeah, just an update on the whole pain thing. My doctors are, apparently gabapentin has some studies that are worrying my doctors because I told them that I'm having problems with like brain fog and memory issues. And a lot of that I think is just sleep because I don't sleep because of my pain. And so they said that the gabapentin in some studies has been linked to like earlier dementia and accelerating dementia and a lot of shit like that. So I'm like, I don't want to fuck with that. So they're going to titrate me off of gabapentin over the next month or two. And then my medicine, I'm going back to 100% gabapentin. So, which is the pain medication that I use. That's like a really long acting, but like super weak opiate. And so, yeah, I'm going to be on one medication in about a month. And I hope I'm not hurting too much worse than I already am, because I don't know if I can handle that. But if everything goes according to plan, then hopefully I'll be down to just one medication that's a lot easier to get a hold of. My wife won't have to like drive to the fucking pharmacy at the hospital because nobody else carries the medication anymore. Should make things a little bit easier for everybody else. But again, it's like, fuck. I hate this medical shit, man. Like, seriously, the doctors just, they're like, oh, yeah, you're not going to be able to get that anymore in a little while. You're not going to be able to get that here in a little more. Your insurance isn't going to cover that. Hey, are there any name brand drugs that can help me? Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of them, but they're like $700 to $1,300 a month. Okay, nope, that's not an option. What do you got in the generic? Gabapentin. It's like, God damn it. Which they don't even want me taking. Or the buprenorphine. It's like, my insurance only covers drugs from the Stone Age, apparently. We can't 3D print a CPU and stuff yet? Not yet. Not yet, but it will happen. It will happen at some point for sure. Oh, bro, I just realized I kept you over again. Look at me.
That's all right.
I'm a terrible person. Terrible person.
Hey, we actually hit our topics today.
We did. We absolutely did. And then some.
Well,
so guys, thank you for coming out and hanging out with us on Tech Talk today. We really do appreciate you.
Yeah.
One med for pain and one med for ADHD. Correct, James Shanus. Yeah. So at that point I will just be and one for blood pressure, my Valsartan. They're going to keep me on that because that's a long-standing med without a lot of side effects. Blue Varro, thank you for the $10 super chat. Super appreciate that. DeWolfsden, thank you for that $5 earlier. Meat Puppet, thank you so much. You said the Mario game you were talking about is Mario Maker 1 and 2. It's literally called Mario Maker.
Yeah.
He said, I'll have 1 to 2 gig fiber in my area soon. Borderlands 4 so far is good on my Series X. I just have to ask, okay, aside from the performance issue, is Borderlands 4 good? Like, the people that have played
it's funny that person said that because I had a similar experience with Cyberpunk. Everybody was like, oh, it just fucking sucks. I only had like a few graphic glitches in the very beginning and one like semi-broken quest that was fixed by closing out the game and coming back in. And at that time I was still running I think I was still running a 1080 Ti at that point. So like some people just had a really shitty experience, and I think some people are just having a really shitty experience right now with Borderlands, and then of course there's just the review bombing and stuff that happens because people get all up in their feelings and shit. But
I wonder if it comes down to your hardware just being close to what they tested on internally.
That could be,
because that's something Microsoft always had a problem with too. Is it's like we'd test our shit on WICL certified hardware that was like all the tests were run on the same machines with the same hardware and stuff. So it's like if you happen to have that same hardware at home, you were going to have a good experience because that's what we tested on. But then if you deviated, the further you deviated from that hardware, the more likely your experience sucked. And so I'm wondering, but yeah, I'm just curious, like, because I don't have the money to buy Borderlands right now, but if somebody gives me a code at some point or something, I'm wondering, like, is it worth playing? Is it good? Because even if it sucks and it doesn't perform, super well, I'd probably still give it a shake, because I do like Borderlands. I loved Borderlands 1. Borderlands 2 was also good. I never played Borderlands 3, surprisingly. I don't know. Was Borderlands 3 really good?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I just play him to shoot stuff.
I'll tell you what, right now I'm playing Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk's my jam right now.
Actually, I do pay attention to the story in COD because it's like playing an action movie, which is pretty fun. I actually kind of halfway do pay attention when I play Call of Duty.
But I hate COD multiplayer, but the campaign's amazing.
Dude, the campaigns are great.
I love the campaigns. They're too short. They're way too short.
I totally think it's okay. It's too short if you're paying $60. But if they would release just the single player as its own thing, and for like 30, I'd buy every single one of them. Every single one. Same. All I want is the single player, and I would totally pay $30 for it. And I would get my 8 to 10 hours, and it's fun. It's playing like, and they have really cool. They do a really good job of having like an action storyline, and it's an action movie. And
it is.
And you just play through because like, man, the cutscenes are gorgeous, and like,
I love the way they flip in and out of them too. The cutscenes where it's it scrolls in, and then the camera kind of pans out as your guy falls into position, and then you take control of him seamlessly. I love it.
It was like, I think it was Black Ops 2 had the storyline with the numbers. Like the guy kept repeating the numbers, and it turns out like you were hallucinating. Spoilers, by the way, but this is like a fucking 15-year-old game, so fuck you. The Russian guy who was supposed to be helping you was like a hallucination, and you had been like brainwashed the whole time.
Yep.
Like, how cool is that?
Yep.
Too bad COD isn't $60 and 70. Yeah, now because
I haven't played the latest COD. I played the second to last, which had one of the shortest storylines of any COD I've ever played. Like, I was actually kind of shocked. I finished the entire game in like 4 hours, like start to finish. And I was like, this is it? Like, I was kind of shocked by it. I was like, some big shootout goes down in the subway, a guy dies, and it's like, that's the end. And you're like, well, where's chapter 2? Like, does this keep going? I was pretty shocked at that one.
Black Ops 1? No, I'm pretty sure it was Black Ops 2. Black Ops 1 was was from like the 50s. You were the Bay of Pigs and stuff.
COD is complete trash nowadays. It's sad. I think the campaigns are good, but I'm with Ox. The campaigns are great. Multiplayer, I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, man, the campaigns are so fun.
No, if I want to play a first-person shooter, like I play fucking Egg. Was it Egg? Egg
crackers or whatever.
Egg crackers or whatever. Egg crackers IO or eggs. Shell Shocker.
That's the one.
Shell Shockers IO. Here, I'm gonna give people a link to this. This is the best first-person shooter ever made. It makes Counter-Strike and COD look like fucking amateur hour. Seriously, it is fun though. Like the graphics are a joke, but it's absolutely fun. Like you log in and create an account, name your character. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. Me and my son play that
Division, a lot. I like Division 2. If they do a Division 3, I'll buy that.
What's the one that you were playing? I played a little too. Was it Delta something? Delta Force or Delta?
Delta Force. That's fun, but that's a little more hardcore. That's a little more hardcore. This is an extraction shooter. It's free though.
Good though. It's good. It's really good.
I like the gameplay loop. I'm terrible. I don't. But
I am too. I'm fucking terrible at it.
I'm not sweaty about it. Like I just play, and if I lose, like who cares? I've not paid anything, so who cares?
No, I'm one of those running gunners where I just go in fucking guns blazing.
Oh, I'm sneaky.
You die so fast.
Sneaky guy. I'm a fucking sneaky guy. I like.
I've been trying to be sneaky in Cyberpunk, but I suck at it. Like I'm not fast enough with the hacks and stuff to like catch everybody before they catch on to me.
I might play some Delta Force after this, actually. What was that game with the Russian hallucination? Call of Duty, Black Ops 2.
Dude, I want to play Delta Force with you. My back is so fucked right now, though.
Oh, man, go take a rest. That's cool.
If I go take my pain medication, can I ping you later and see if you might want to go a couple rounds?
Sure.
I think that'd be fun. If I do that later, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll stream it on Twitch or something like that. People can just come watch us go blow shit up. That'd be fun. Yeah, go install Delta Force, because if we end up playing it later, we play it tomorrow or something like that. You can come jump on the server and come hunt us down. It's a lot. How many players can be on simultaneously? Because I swear it was like a fucking bee swarm when I was on there playing last time.
I don't know. I don't know how many. You can. It's 4 to a squad, 3 or 4 to a squad. Like if you're all grouped together, but then I don't know how many can be in a map at once.
Because I was playing on this one that was like there's an underground cave or something, or an underground facility you had to like rappel into, or you could parachute into, and it was.
I would say probably at least 16.
Oh shit, I was thinking it's more like
Probably
32 or
like
64.
4x4.
It seemed like a lot.
I could depend. It could depend on the map as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know.
It was wild. Like I was literally like, no matter where I went, I was dead within like 34. But you get right back into the action. That's what I love about it. You just pick a checkpoint.
It's pretty quick.
And you just push hard.
It's good.
All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. My back is just murdering me today.
Of course it is. Or take a hot bath or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get in the hot tub. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out on Tech Talk today. We love your faces. Please be good to each other. Go outside, get some sun, and you know, try to enjoy life to its full potential. And even if you can't enjoy it as much as somebody else because you deal with fucking pain like I do or whatever, just focus on the things that are amazing. Because there's something amazing. You might forget about it every once in a while. You might not focus on it, but everybody has something amazing. They just got to find and they got to focus on. That's my advice.
Right.
Oh, it's max 32v32, so it is 64. Holy shit. Okay.
Well, on the deathmatch side, yeah.
Yeah. On the deathmatch.
Where it's like you're taking over the control points or whatever. Yeah.
Wait, can you do cooperative? Can you do cooperative extraction?
I play the extraction side more than the.
Is that multiplayer though? Can I join you in an extract? Oh, yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Fuck the online deathmatch. I want to do that.
Yeah, the deathmatch side, or where you're doing the control point thing. I'm terrible at that. Like that's not as fun. It's too run and gun, too much like COD multiplayer for me.
Yeah, it definitely does feel COD-esque with the online play.
Yeah, no, the
way more
extraction
realistic.
side. That to me, that's the most fun, is the extraction side.
Hey, old Tony, and thank you for that £5. We really appreciate that, man. Heading out the door. That was really nice of you. All right, guys, I'm gonna go jump in the hot tub, see if I can get my back to release.
Do it.
All right, peace out. Have a great weekend, everybody.